Something made during my life. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was that it?
That's it.
I was trash today. Brought to you by friends.
No, I didn't get to Pitbull. Do we have time
come
for
back
Pitbull?
tomorrow.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah,
we can do it. Whatever. I don't care.
Okay, so Pitbull
I got nowhere to be.
gave a heartfelt thank you to fans attending his recent London gig wearing bald caps, saying, quote, "It was amazing to see." Now, hundreds, if not thousands, of fans descended on the O2 Arena on Friday, donning bald caps, aviators, and leather jackets in spirit of Mr. Worldwide. Real name, Armando Christian Perez. Now, the international love singer currently embarking on a European leg of his Party After Dark tour, joined by Little John, while performing the only date in England, took a moment to thank fans.
So if he walks through Talladega, because he's a team owner this year,
He would
and
be
I go,
the most recognizable guy there because nobody at Talladega looks like Pitbull.
and I'll go, Armando, will he turn around, you think?
That's a good question. I would think
Probably.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a unique name. If it was Steve, probably
Yeah.
not.
But Armando, and then would I get my ass kicked because I called him Armando?
No, I bet he's a nice guy. Greg Sankey said he smelled
Yeah.
very pleasant.
And he's like 5'1", so I wouldn't really
I
worry
don't think
about
it
it.
would
But he's
be
got to
nice.
have bodyguards.
He will have bodyguards.
Yeah.
I heard, yeah.
Nobody calls Pitbull Armando.
I literally, not only Sankey, I've heard that from a lot of people
That
that
he
he's
smells
a really,
pleasant?
well, I don't know about that. I've heard that's the only time I've heard he smells good.
Yeah.
But I've heard he's really nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that.
He goes on to say, now I want to thank a lot of people, everybody who came out here in bald caps, bald, B-A-L-D caps here tonight. It's amazing to see, amazing to feel, and I hope when you put one of those bald caps on, you feel just like I do, having a good mother effing time every day of my life.
Absolutely. Me too. I do.
Old ball cap there,
Yeah.
Jimmy D.
Every time.
Hey, that's your Halloween next year. You could go as Pitbull.
Halloween got to be something different. I'm that 364 days.
Well, I mean, you put your designer shades on.
I mean, do either this or the Six Flags guy from the commercials.
Hey, by the way, thank you, Tyler. That's now my least favorite comment you've ever made.
Hey, we're going to get a little
Just giving
rivalry
you some
going here. I
ideas for
like it.
Halloween.
Louisville sent me a pair of oversized glasses yesterday, wanted me to vote for their coach for National Coach of the Year.
Pat Kelsey?
Yeah, apparently he wears big glasses.
Yeah.
I don't even know who he is.
Well, you added to
he's
your
done a good job,
collection.
yeah.
You had the Raiders of the Lost Ark glasses.
But to think
Those
that,
never showed back up. You remember them?
do they think I'm going to vote for somebody not in the SEC?
Yeah, really?
Please.
Did you look at my mailing address when you said
This year. I mean,
Hey.
it showed up at the house yesterday. Maggie's like, what's this from Dana at the University of Louisville? And I was like, I don't know who Dana at the University of Louisville. Of course you don't.
Yeah,
and I open it up.
sure.
And as I'm opening it up, I'm like,
Dana?
Do you follow her on Instagram now?
I don't.
Dana could be
but
a
I
dude.
open it up, and it's a pair of oversized glasses. I wore them at poker last night.
You think
Didn't
it's
help
not
my loss.
oversized underwear?
Hey, by the way, you want to finish with a quick story?
Yeah.
This coach in this school agreed to a contract extension right before the season, and this could be a big story.
Is it football? Or
It's basketball. Right before the season, agreed to a contract extension.
Oh, I hope it's Hubert Davis in North Carolina.
Dunaway has nailed it. It's Hubert Davis in North Carolina. Agreed to a contract extension through 2030.
Oh, yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
Right before the season started.
And how much money is it worth?
It
What's the
doesn't. There's no
buyout?
details
It
yet.
doesn't matter. No way he's going anywhere.
No, I'm telling you, growing buzz is North Carolina wants Nate Oates bad. So
Well,
Alabama's got to defend him every
What do
year.
they say? One hand, shit in the other?
Let's circle back to that tomorrow. Can you remember to bring that up? Because I got some things I could say about that.
Yeah.
I've actually got some information on
Absolutely.
that story.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be every year. I mean,
Yeah.
you got
If
a guy
y'all-
like Nate
If
Oates.
y'all are
every
talking
year.
that, I'm not showing up tomorrow.
No, this
Okay,
is
don't show up.
I'm not.
You drink some mushroom juice
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's what I'm doing. I'll see you guys Thursday.
See you next Thursday. It works on Thursday, too. Weird. All right, that's the show. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Hang out with the next round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the next round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The worst basketball nickname, at least for this year, at least in my opinion. We'll talk about that later in the show. Crazy night in basketball, some football news, reaction. Ross Dellinger has the reporting on what came out of the college football playoff discussion yesterday. No decision made. A civil suit involving an Alabama player from a field storming. We'll get to all that coming up. But Brownie, if you could bottle what we saw last night in Tuscaloosa, I'm going to say this right now.
Okay. Clean read?
If Alabama plays like they did last night, think they can beat anybody in the country.
So what you're telling me, Jim, is if you shoot 22 threes or make 22 threes,
yep,
you think Alabama's unbeatable if they hit 22 threes?
I would say they're unbeatable, Brown, when they hit 22 threes, though they only tied the record of their most threes against the top 25 team.
That's hard to believe.
Because they had to put this footnote in the stat last night.
Okay.
22 threes made by Alabama is a record for Alabama in a win over a top 25 team.
Okay. When you have to say win over a top 25 team, that means they made 22 and somehow lost to a top 25 team? That can't be the case.
In Nate Oates' first year, Alabama made 22 three-pointers and lost the game 95-91 in overtime. Guess who it was against?
Mississippi State?
Nope.
Who?
On the road in overtime at Auburn. At Auburn. So when I say...
Well, you had no post presence that night, did you?
When I say I think they can beat anybody in the country when they make 22 threes, and they play like they did last night, because the defense was a story last night, too. I thought they played better defense.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you held Mississippi State to 73 points, and the way Alabama has recently played defense at times, that is really, really good. I mean, to hold State to 73, the way Alabama scores, anybody they hold to 73, they ought to beat. And I know that would bring up questions about the Ole Miss game earlier this year where they held Ole Miss and couldn't beat them. That is basically the one outlier. The way Alabama's offense is playing right now, which is better than anybody else's offense in the country, end of sentence, you hold somebody to 73, you're not just going to win. You're going to win going away. I mean, that's the way this offense is playing right now. And to your point, if they can keep this up, and I don't know if they can. I mean, this is a hard level of offense to keep going. I mean, it's just hard to play at that level every single night, but they have done it for several straight games. I don't know who beats this team if they can continue to play offense that way. Now, with that said, they scored in the 90s and lost at Missouri. They scored in the 80s and lost at home to Auburn. So
the defense is the secret ingredient.
It is, and it's gotten better. And is that a function of schedule? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was better against Kentucky. It's a pretty good offense Kentucky has out there.
Yep. And
they're banged up.
Josh Hubert scored 38 in the first meeting in Starkville.
Well, he didn't last night.
He had a quiet 21 last night. Didn't seem like he had 21. I think I'm right on that number. He was single digits well into that game. So a lot of garbage points. Here's Nate Oates afterwards on who got the assignment a lot on Hubbard and how come the Tide had that success.
That was a little bit better start than what we'd had. I think it's the first time we've led it the first media timeout since Arkansas. So,
wow.
Been stressing to have a little bit better sense of urgency to start the games. I thought LeBaron's sense of urgency to get stops on Hubbard was really good. That's what we need out of LeBaron every night. I thought he played great. You know, he ended up with 10 and 5 with only 2 turnovers. But I thought, it's one of those deals where when you just get really locked into the right stuff and lose yourself in the game, the offense comes a lot easier. You know, he shot 2 of 5 from 3, contributed to the 22 threes we made. So, I was happy with his defense, but there's other guys that took their turn on Hubbard that I thought did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, the whole defense seemed to be at a different level last night. Taylor pointed it out to me at halftime. She's like, is it just me or is the defense playing a lot harder, more aggressive tonight? You had Youngblood diving for a ball at midcourt where he actually dove so aggressively he actually landed mid-chest on the basketball and bounced up into the air off of the ball. The the big guys inside. Cliff was really dominant inside. Grant Nelson got the Hard Hat Award for what he did inside against their bigs. I thought it was the perfect effort that Alabama needed in this 4-game stretch against ranked opponents, all Sweet 16 level type teams. And we know what's ahead. Tennessee on the road, Florida at home, on the road at Auburn. But you can only win one at a time, and last night was really dang impressive.
I would agree. So this is game 2 of that 5-game stretch that is such a back-breaking stretch, and we have discussed what would that record be in that 5-game stretch. And the most popular answers were either 3-2 or 2-3.
That's right.
Which are, whichever one you want to be on. And we discussed what would Auburn's record be in that, what would Duke's record be in that, what would Houston's record be in that. And I think we all feel like probably 3-2, maybe 4-1. But you're 2-0 now. So now you've got this 3-game stretch left, basically to earn a 1 seed. I mean, we'll get to Florida later. That certainly throws a monkey wrench in Florida's shots at the 1 seed. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, if you're Alabama, you control your destiny to a 1 seed right now. Is however important that is, because your worst case is a 2 seed. And I just don't know that there's a significant difference between a 1 and a 2. But for so long, Alabama wasn't even a 1 seed, and now it has become something that it seems like they're in contention for at least every other season right now under Nate Oates. But if you're Alabama, you've taken care of business at home in 2 of those 5 games, and you're still very much in control of earning that number 1 seed.
Tennessee on the road this weekend, but a couple of more things on last night's win. Alabama 111-73 over Mississippi State. Now 23-5, 12-3 in the league. Still with an outside shot at chasing down Auburn. Auburn controls a lot of that in their final 4 games tonight at home against Ole Miss. But first, the scores last night.
All right.
Chris Youngblood, 27. Mark Sears, 21. But Youngblood's barrage of threes, and down 3-0 right at the beginning, Youngblood gets a 4-point play, the rare 4-point play. Makes a 3, fouled as he's finishing his shot, goes to the line, hits that, and gives Alabama a 4-3 lead. From that moment on, the tone was set, and Youngblood had a as we said on our social media account, a legacy night for Chris Youngblood, a legacy game for him.
If he could play Mississippi State every night, his 2 games against State have been incredible this year. I mean, it's
a coach that's known for good defense, by the way, in Chris Jans.
Yeah, I mean, and played pretty good defense. 88. I know that feels like a lot, but for Alabama, that's a good night. Last night was a great night. I mean, I don't know how much defense when a team's going to hit 22 threes. You're going to have your hand in the face of some of those. Those were not 22 open threes that they hit. So there's just some nights you're just like, I don't know what we could have done there. I mean, you can only play so much defense. If a team's going to hit 22 threes, I don't know how much more defense I could play in that.
Mark Sears, by the way, continues to move up in the KenPom National Player of the Year rankings. Paul, one of our great viewers and listeners, sent that to me today. Cooper Flagg leads in the KenPom slightly ahead of Janai Broom. Hunter Dickinson of Kansas, Cam Jones of Marquette, John Tanji of Wisconsin, and then Mark Sears, who has moved up, said, and Paul points out, wasn't in the top 10 a few weeks ago. So keep in mind, he's gone 35, 30, and now 21 when he's not even the leading scorer. But Sears played great again last night. In fact, his assists were off the charts last night, distributing the basketball really good. And me personally, we'll talk to Bryan Passink about this coming up in our next segment. When Sears is not running the offense, when he's not dribbling at the top, and he is off, and they've got either Philon or Holloway running the offense.
Now, which is what Oates said. We played it yesterday. That's one of the reasons they brought Holloway in, was to get Sears in that situation.
Yeah, and Philon in the starting rotation. Those two, the speed on the dribble, the distribution. It felt like Alabama made one extra pass before every three-pointer last night, and it led to wide open shots for Youngblood or Sears. Even Jaron Stevenson hit 3 in the second half, 3 3-pointers. I mean, it just felt like one extra pass than normal, like the one pass and then you take the shot. It was like pass and then pass one more time, and it had Mississippi State out of whack. And then there's the way Nate Oates is approaching this team, man. think they were up 22, and there was a missed assignment on defense. Second half, up 22, against a top 25 team. Missed assignment on defense. And I think either Nate called a timeout or made a substitution, and he is ranting at the team. And even I sit there and thought, I was like, man, up 22, let's take a chill pill.
Yep.
Mark Sears afterwards on Nate Oates coaching this team really hard, even when the lead is huge against Mississippi State.
What kind of message does it send from Coach Oates when he's still getting on y'all when you're up 30-plus points that it's a game that's probably out of reach, but he's coaching you like it's, a neck-and-neck game?
Well, yeah, we're just trying to take that next step with our defense. We can't feel any sympathy for the team. We just gotta keep, that's the times we can take our next step to our defense.
Yeah, and that defense took a step. Now, can they do it at Tennessee? It'll be a rock fight up there. I don't know which analyst says rock fight all the time. I think it's Jimmy
Dykes. I think you're going Jimmy Dykes there. Ravi, that's going to be a rock fight in Knoxville.
And it's going to be a rock fight. You got two teams that are sitting in first class of Jimmy's jet. So it'll be a good game, 3 o'clock coming up in Knoxville this weekend. We'll talk to Bryan Passink, who is on the call on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. He'll be with us coming up in the next segment. To what else we saw on the court last night, including Georgia's big win over Florida and a very respectable court rush. After Brownie tells us about our friends at the Golfus.
That is the place to go for Birmingham's best golf simulators. It is always 70 degrees inside the office. There's never any wind. There's never any rain. Great place to go enjoy some of the courses you see on TV, courses you've always wanted to play. You can play them right there at the Golfus. Great idea for that office meeting that is going to be boring in the office. Why make it boring for your employees? Let's do some team building, have a fun meeting, get outside the office, get in the Golfus. Great place for parties, games on the TVs while you're playing. Bring your own food, bring your own drinks, bring your own clubs. Parties up to 50 at the Golfus. Open right now, Highway 31 in Vestavia, just off Highway 11 in Trussville on Van Road. You can book a bay or see more at thegolfus.com. Get out of the office, get in the Golfus, thegolfus.com.
One more note. Alabama's win last night, largest margin of victory over anybody this year, but more impressive for Alabama. It was their fourth 100-plus point game versus ranked teams this year. Nobody has done that since the 2002 Kansas team, almost a quarter of a century ago. That team was pretty darn good.
I'd say.
So whatever stock you put into this offense, not just against anybody, against 4 ranked teams now, they've gone over 100 points.
Again, as I was saying, their offense has not been a problem. They have scored enough points outside of the Ole Miss game to reasonably expect to win every game you play if you play any sort of level of defense. Their offense has played at an elite level of late. I mean, even, as I said, in the loss at Missouri, they scored 98? 110 to 98, I believe, off the top of my head, was that final at Missouri.
Very NBA-like score.
Somebody told me that the other day. They were like, that was almost like an NBA score. I was like, what do you mean almost? Well, it was only 110 to 98. I said, NBA plays 48 minutes.
Yeah.
If they'd played those extra 8 minutes, Missouri easily scores in the 130s.
Yeah.
if not in the 140s. I was like, nobody was getting stops in that game. That game was going to end up 130 to 120 if they'd have played the extra 8 minutes. So it was 100% an NBA game. And but anyway, I mean, Alabama's offense has played at an absolute elite level. I was going to look at the Ken Palm update to see where they are in efficiency. They'd slipped to 3, and that's where they are. They're still number 3 behind Auburn and Duke. I mean, again, I know it's stupid to say, you were saying it tongue-in-cheek. If you hit 22 threes, nobody's going to beat you. I mean, I don't know what the number is, really. Like, how many – like, last year I said 18. And, of course, people were, anybody hit 18 threes, they're going to win. I mean, what do you think the number realistically is? Like, if Alabama hits – I know there are so many other factors in this, but if they hit X amount of threes.
Well, I mean, for instance, Ole Miss is a dang good defensive team, and I'm not sure how many Alabama got up three-point-wise in that game that they lost in Tuscaloosa. But Auburn in Oxford made 14 threes against that same Ole Miss defense. So some of it is, I think Alabama, if they hit 15 or more threes, can beat anybody in the country, maybe other than Auburn and Duke. And then at that point, you're going to have to play some defense.
Yeah, I mean, well, at some point you are going to have to play defense. Against Ole Miss, just for the record, Alabama got up 23s. They made 22 last night.
Yeah, they made 22. They only got 23 up, only shot 20.
5 of 20 against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And a 10-point loss.
Yeah. If they only make 5 threes, I don't think they can beat anybody in the country.
It's going to be hard. It is going to be hard. I would agree with you on that.
Alabama, Tennessee this weekend. We'll talk to Passink in the next segment. The story everyone was talking about. The moment I walked in fact, in Coleman Coliseum for a brief moment, while fans were coming in and players were not into their official warm-ups yet, they had the Georgia-Florida game on the big screens. Partly because Georgia was up 26.
I mean, who saw that coming?
Georgia was up 26 on number 2 Florida. And then Florida started to come back. They'll take one of these, and they'll take one of those, and a 2 and a 3. And they came all the way back, and with 1:07 left, Florida took a 1-point lead with 1:07 left in the game, and you just thought to yourself,
it's over.
Poor Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia folds at this point, right?
They need the win to make a case to get off the bubble, to get on the right side of the bubble, or at least get back into the conversation for the tournament, and they have blown a 26-point lead on their home floor against their rival. But lo and behold, a couple of big plays in the final 67 seconds, and Georgia wins it 88-83. Mike White afterwards on what the win meant for his program.
Oh, it's great. It's first and foremost about our guys. You know, it's I'm happy for them. They've worked their butt off. There's been a lot of adversity, of course. This was a team, we were in the top 25, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks, who knows? So all that positive noise that comes to these guys, they heard it. And not that we reacted really negatively to it at all, but then you find yourself here where you've lost a few in a row, and you got to keep it in perspective that it's the best league in the history of college basketball. And you're up 26 on number 2, and then all of a sudden you're down, and what an in-game response. Unbelievable. Especially for a group that's not overly old and experienced, right? So I'm really happy for our guys, of course, but also really happy for our student section.
Yeah, the student section who, according to all reports, respectfully rushed the court. This is the scene there. I wasn't there, and I could only see it from the videos that were out, but apparently there was a pause. They let Florida get to a safe place off the floor. And then here come the students, and it looks like everyone else in the greater Athens area. We're making it down onto the court down there. And if the opposing team is off the court, then where's the harm in this?
No,
some
there
would
isn't.
say.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And I think based on, Little T was saying she was watching a video of the athletic director literally with a stopwatch, counting down time and then letting them go. I'm assuming that avoids the fine, right?
I hope.
That's my assumption.
I don't know the rules.
I don't either.
I thought Tennessee did a good job with Alabama this past year in football when they rushed. Didn't think they were going to rush for a little bit. But then when Alabama sort of was in a safe place, it looked like Tennessee students rushed. I don't know if Tennessee football got fined, but at least they made an effort to let Florida get off the court last night at Georgia, and they had a great moment there.
Well, Georgia is in the, according to Joe Lunardi, he had them, there's a first 4 out, which, I mean, as the name would indicate, those are the first 4 teams that he doesn't have in the tournament.
Last 4 in, first 4 out.
That's right. And then there's a next 4 out.
Right.
And that's where you find Georgia. And
Was this after or before the game?
This is before, and I'm
Okay.
interested to see Joe Lunardi has not updated yet this morning.
So I would tell you, what do you think Georgia's record is? Do you know this?
I think they're 17-12. Am I right about that?
I'm asking in the SEC. What do you think their record in the SEC is?
Record in the SEC, I would so what have they played now? 15 games?
Yep.
5-10?
That was their 5th conference win last night. They're 5-10 in the league. And my friends at the Field of 68 said Georgia's win in the bubble watch gives the SEC legit discussion now about 14 teams in the tournament. Sorry, LSU, South Carolina.
Yeah, you're out.
14 teams in the SEC tournament. At some point, there's no way they're going to let that many in. And I would say Georgia's on the wrong side looking at this, 5 of 10. But, Brown, they have beaten. Now, listen to this.
Okay.
Florida, who is number 2. They beat Kentucky. They beat a team called St. John's.
Oh, that's a big win right now, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And if you look at the KenPom, and I believe the net, but look at the KenPom, I think you find Georgia ahead of Texas, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt.
I've got Georgia at 37, Texas 41, Vanderbilt 45. Did I miss Arkansas? I must have missed Arkansas. No, Arkansas is 36. Georgia is 1 spot behind Arkansas, and that's in the KenPom. In the net, let me update it real quick.
Just saying that in the KenPom, Georgia basically even with Arkansas, ahead of Texas and Vandy. Those teams are all battling for tournament spots.
Georgia 36 in the net. They moved up 4 spots after that win last night. That has them in front of Texas, in front of Arkansas, in front of Vanderbilt.
So
in the net, that's the NCAA's metric. Yeah. That's not KenPom.
So they're 5 and 10 in the league, and that just moves them ahead of Texas, Arkansas, and Vandy in the net.
Well,
is that a tournament team?
It doesn't feel like one unless you consider this to be the best Southeastern Conference or the best basketball conference that's ever existed, as some are saying it was or it is.
I'm told it is.
Yeah,
by a lot of people.
So at that moment, you've got to say, well, if they're the best, a 5 or 6 win team. Now I don't think they can finish with 5 wins and get in this thing. So here's the thing. According to Joe Lunardi, your last 4 byes, Texas and Oklahoma are at the bottom of that. So Texas plays tonight against Arkansas. Where does he have Arkansas, Lunardi? He's got Arkansas last 4 in. So that's going to be your problem on getting 14 in if Joe Lunardi is correct. You got Texas and Oklahoma, last 4 byes. Arkansas, last 4 in. We'll see what he does with Georgia after last night. I'm going to guess they moved to the first 4 out. All 4 of those probably aren't going to make it. Texas plays Arkansas tonight. It feels like winners on the right side of the bubble, losers on the wrong side of the bubble in that one, doesn't it?
But what if Vandy beats A&M and Oklahoma beats Kentucky tonight in SEC action?
Yes, Oklahoma, if they beat Kentucky, they're not even like first 4 byes. They're in a numbered spot now, right?
And then Vandy on the road at A&M.
Vandy on the road at A&M, yeah, that'd be huge. If you're Georgia, here's who they close with in terms of Georgia. So you tell me where you think. So you've got them at they're 5 and 10, right?
If I'm Georgia, I guess I want it to be there's you see the Lunardi.
Yeah, this is before yesterday's games. He is not updated today.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, he is not updated today. So we'll see what he does with Georgia. That's going to be the most significant mover there.
But you see Georgia, you can see a lot of crap there in North Carolina, Indiana, who fired their coach. SMU's got no quad 1 wins. I mean, there's some crap ahead of them.
Oh, there is. I mean, I would think a win over Florida jumps you pretty significantly. Like, one thing I think we've always learned, we used to, when Alabama and Auburn used to spend life on the bubble, we used to look at a lot of Joe Lunardi stuff. And we were always amazed at how little movement there was, like first 4 out, next 4 out by him.
Yeah. Unless you had a huge win.
Yeah.
And those are the opportunities. So if I'm a Georgia fan, am I hoping for the final 3 games to be tough to give me an opportunity, or do I just want W's? I think I'd want tough.
I think you want W's, but here's what you get. You don't get tough. You're at Texas next.
Okay, but I'm battling.
It's a bubble game.
Yeah, and so that may be the best of both worlds.
Yeah, some of that depends on what Texas does with Arkansas tonight. Yeah. But, I mean, if you're Georgia, you could be playing Texas, and both teams have to have a win here.
On the road, that could end up being a quad 1 game for me.
At South Carolina, which if you lose that one, you're out of the tournament. That's going to be one of those where the committee's like, they don't even want to be in the tournament if they're losing at South Carolina.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering last night if the committee watching that, if you're a committee member and you're like, man, they're up 26, and then they're down 1, you're like, they blew that lead. Is that really a tournament team?
And then they host Vanderbilt to end the year.
So they get 2 of the people they're perceived to be against.
Correct, Texas and Vandy.
Hunker down, you hairy dogs. Pretty good opportunity there for you guys.
If you beat South Carolina on the road and you beat Vandy at home, I'll give them the loss at Texas. But if you do those 2 things, that gives you 2 more wins. You finish 7 and 11. I think that's probably enough to get you in out of this conference, 7 and 11.
More basketball from last night, and we'll set the table for Auburn coming up a little bit later on, number 1 team in the country, dominant number 1. in action tonight, 6 o'clock. Little T and I will be down for the basketball show post-game. If you want to see our reaction from last night's game and all the video highlights that Taylor puts together, you can go to our social media platform at Next Round Live, Forrester, I'm going to tell us about Urology Centers of Alabama. If you can cue up the court storming again, or as I just said, the stort
storming. Yes.
The court storming again from Georgia. But let me tell you about Urology Centers of Alabama first, UCA. Great folks there that want to help you stay on top of your health bubble. 205-930-0920, 930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. Prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, anything, guys. I know in your 20s you feel bulletproof, right? And then you get to be 30 and you're like, oh, I've got to keep an eye on what? I didn't even know I had one of those. Well, you got to keep an eye on it. Make sure something bad's not going on internally. That's what Urology Centers of Alabama will do for you. 205-930-0920, 16 locations standing by to help you out, urologycentersalabama.com. Give me the court storming again. There are fines in the SEC trying to deter, to keep this kind of stuff from happening. The reason why, it's some, I believe, for student safety, fan safety, but I always have felt like it's for the visiting team.
I would agree.
That's who gets the fine.
Because I think if a fan gets hurt, now I don't know where this would start, end up in court, but if a fan gets hurt, I can at least say, well, they made the decision to be there, right? I mean, the players really have no decision in the matter.
That's right. And that gets us to a civil suit that has been filed against Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., the Alabama DB, from back at the Alabama-Oklahoma game when Oklahoma rushed the field after beating Alabama 24-3 this year. Holden Moxley is the kid's name. Holden Moxley, who filed a civil suit against Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., who said he suffered a concussion, diagnosed concussion because he went to the ER after the celebration, and that he was hit on the head by Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. That's his claim. Now, Dre's attorneys are saying no, that didn't happen, and that if it did, Dre was just acting in self-defense in a circumstance that he didn't feel safe in, just trying to fight and get away from the crowd to get off the field.
I'm guessing we don't have good video in this?
Video identification is why Dre Kirkpatrick, using the number on his jersey. Now, I would make a case. I'd check really quickly if there's double
numbers.
And is there not reasonable doubt if we got two numbers? But the attorneys are involved now. Holden Moxley is asking for some money between $10,000 and $75,000. Now, here's the defense. Holden Moxley is on the field legally or illegally, Brian?
I believe he's trespassing.
He is trespassing. He is on the field illegally.
That is correct.
Right?
I believe that is made plain on your ticket, yes.
Yeah, so...
And by announcements.
This is why Greg Sankey and all the SEC folks spend a lot of time trying to keep this from happening.
That is right.
Because whether it's Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. allegedly doing this or anybody else with a player trying to get off the field. And listen, you may just be trotting to run off the field. You're a 6'4", or 6'1", 2-something football player in pads and a helmet. You may run over a sorority girl or bump into Holden Moxley, who's trying to take a selfie, he says, and he got hit over the head. I don't know how tall Holden Moxley is, but let's say he's the average height of 5'11".
Okay.
Of your, apparently, with that name, white frat boy, Holden Moxley.
Let's roll the dice on that one.
5'11", you're trying to take a selfie. Here comes 6'1" in cleats, Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., whether it's intentional or not, there's going to be some bumping going on in here.
Yeah, body to body in there.
Dude, you got to keep your ass off the field.
Yep.
If I'm on your jury, you don't want me on the jury. Now, I know it's a civil suit, probably just be a judge, but you don't want me to be the judge. Stay off the field. If you go on the field, you may get bumped into. You may get hit over the head, Holden. May happen to you one day at the country club, too.
On the 18th green. Remember, guest, it got out of hand.
You going to sue the head of the bank when he slices one and hits you in the other fairway? I don't know. Dre Kirkpatrick Jr.'s defense team at work here. The key word, though, on the field in Norman First off, your team sucked last year. Why are you rushing the field?
Oh, they did. That was their one win.
But you rushed the field.
Yeah.
Unlawful to be out there holding Moxley. We'll see what the courts say about this as the legal process continues, but that's what the SEC is always concerned about. We talked to Bryan Passink about Alabama's night last night. 22 threes. A margin of victory more than anything else this year. Odie's bringing us part of the show. Great lunch location today. Stop by Odie's at some point.
We'll be at the Mountain Brook location tonight, Lance and I, for Odie's team trivia. You can participate in that just starting right there at 8 o'clock. Auburn game will be on the TV as well there if you want to watch Auburn and Ole Miss play at Odie's. Great place for lunch today, too. The Big Cup cocktails, the Rodney's cheeseburger, that Diablo sandwich, all right there at Odie's. Right there at the new location in Homewood and the Edgewood location and the historic location in Mountain Brook. It is Odie's Alabama basketball with Bryan Passink next.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Later on in the show, not with our buddy Bryan Passink, but later on in the show, we'll talk about analysts who are always trying to get Nate Oates hired somewhere else, it seems like. The discussion about North Carolina and the weird contract that popped up yesterday at the end of our show. We'll get into all that going on at North Carolina. But right now, we're reliving last night's 111-73 win. Alabama had over number 24 Mississippi State, where 22 threes found the bottom of the sack.
Pretty remarkable. Bryan Passink saw every one of the 22 threes courtside with Chris Stewart and Roger Hoover and Tom Stipe there on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. What's up, BP? How are you, man?
Doing great, guys. How are y'all today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. Would you say, I mean, you've watched every one of them. Overall, might that be Alabama's best overall performance this year?
Well, it's hard to argue with that. I mean, it's just really impressive from the tip. Alabama got a great start. That's obviously been an issue for this team, down double digits each of the last 3 games. And so to start well and pretty much play at a high level on both ends of the floor through 40 minutes, to beat an SEC team by 38 points is impressive, especially in this league. And then, oh, by the way, Mississippi State is really good. They're a top 25 team. So you didn't do this against a bottom feeder. You did it against a team that I think has a chance to make a run maybe to the second weekend or further in the NCAA tournament. Very impressive performance by Alabama last night.
I think average fans understand good offense, and then I think we all struggle on what is good defense. So what, as a guy who plays the game as an analyst, what did Alabama do that impressed you defensively last night? Why did it feel different?
Well, guys are flying around. The one thing you can see, whether you know the scouting report or not, is it's pretty easy to see if guys are playing really hard and tough and intense. That was the case from the tip. Now, the thing that not just average fans, but average broadcasters like myself don't always understand is the scouting report on particular players at certain places on the floor. You're going to go behind the screen. You're going to go over it. How's your teammate on the help side playing it? Don't always know those things. So I can tell, looking over at the coaching staff, if they guarded an action the correct way according to the scouting report. So I'm watching the game. I'm watching our coaches, and you could tell a lot by that. But the one thing that we can all tell is effort. And Alabama's effort from start to finish, I thought, was great. That's something that Nate Oates and this coaching staff have really been emphasizing, that their potential as a team to possibly win the SEC regular season, the tournament in Nashville, and make a deep run, hopefully to a Final Four and even further, and compete for a national championship, is how much better this team gets on the defensive end. That's been a point of emphasis every day in practice, and I think they're getting better. If you look at the last 2 games against 2 really good teams in Kentucky, a high-powered offense, Mississippi State, a team with Josh Hubert, one of the best players in the country, the defensive effort and intensity was through the roof. That's a great sign as we get into the end of the regular season, and especially when you consider what lies ahead in these next 3 regular season games.
Okay, so I don't want to get too far into the X's and O weeds here, but a lot of people would be like, oh, if we're in the man and I'm supposed to guard 12, I just guard 12. But you're telling me that in a scouting report for a different player, I may be going under screens or over screens or switching off, that it gets that intense and complicated on a game plan on a scouting report.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you're guarding Cam Matthews, who's a great player at Mississippi State, but he's a sub 30% three-point shooter. He wants to drive to the basket. He's aggressive, taking it to the rim, where Josh Hubert can do that for sure, but one of the best three-point shooters in the SEC. You don't want to let him breathe at the three-point line. And so you're also depending on your teammates to help, to hedge, sometimes double, depending on what types of coverages you're in. But, yeah, the scouting report is so detailed at the college level. And, that's one thing that I see from freshmen coming in is you can play super hard, but if you go the wrong way, you can go the wrong way full speed, and you're still out of position. I always appreciate a guy, if you're going to make a mistake, and coaches say this all the time, if you're going to make a mistake, you do want to make it at full speed. But really, the ideal thing is to not make mistakes. Play hard, play smart, attention to detail on the scouting report. And I thought Alabama has done a great job of that the last couple of games.
Bryan Passink, the analyst for the Crimson Tide Sports Network, with us. Somebody in the mybookie.ag chat room. Let me see if I can give credit.
Wait.
What?
Big fan of feathers?
I don't.
Is that what's behind you, by the way? Are those feathers?
They are feathers.
Yeah. For quails?
You guys can relate. I have daughters, and
yeah.
They help me with the interior design of my house. So credit to Blair and Sarah Passink on the feathers and anything in this house that I didn't do, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if there were particular birds, like if you're a big outdoorsman, are they duck feather, quail feather, anything like that? I assume, I'm not an outdoorsman, I assume quails have feathers. Is that true?
I think they do, yes.
Yeah. We are two non-outdoorsmen trying to talk about feathers right now.
I think I know quails have feathers, yes. James was the
golf outside. Does that count?
Yeah, me too.
Be an outdoorsman.
Yeah. James had the comment I was looking for. Pasink's facial and body expressions on the court cam during the games after every turnover is priceless. Only 11 last night, though. That is an improvement. 11 turnovers.
Listen, if we beat a ranked team by 38 points, my body language is better than it has been in a few of these games that we've lost and turned the ball over. Listen, that court cam is embarrassing for myself. I didn't realize I was making the facial expressions and the body language that I am, but it's comedy. So last night was better. I didn't get too frustrated with any of the calls or any of the turnovers. I need to tell Nate and the guys, just win by 38 points and everybody's going to be happy. It's not that complicated.
So, yeah, absolutely. Just do that every week and everybody's fine. But, we talked about it, and I don't know what your perspective was, but there were times maybe it felt like in an effort not to turn it over, maybe Alabama wasn't their real self. I mean, I've noticed Nate Oates even maybe changes his language a little bit. He starts talking about we got to limit stupid turnovers. I mean, when you play at the pace Alabama plays, when you're scoring 111 points, 98 points, there's going to be some turnovers. I mean, that's just, you really can't avoid it. So there's an acceptable level for Nate Oates, isn't there?
Yeah, there's definitely good. I mean, if you're going to put it in a category of good turnovers, you're trying to make a play. You're playing at breakneck speed. Alabama's the fastest paced team in college basketball, leading the country in scoring. And so you look at the stat sheet, and last night, I think we would all agree Alabama did a good job taking care of the ball against a team in Mississippi State that's second in the SEC in steals. You still look up and you had double-digit turnovers, but as many possessions as there are, that's not a bad number at all. And one thing that has given me encouragement over the course of the season is that typically Nate Oates teams, because you've got so many new players in this day and age of college basketball that are adjusting to a different tempo than they've ever played. I mean, nobody in this program has ever played at the pace that Alabama does. And with that comes maybe a little more turnovers in the beginning of the season and even in the middle. But towards the end, you hope to see those turnover numbers come down. That's starting to be the case. And last night was a great example because go back to Saturday, Kentucky's not a team that creates a ton of turnovers. They're a lot like Alabama. They want to get up and down. They've got guys that can guard. They're solid on the defensive end, but they're not taking chances. Where Mississippi State, they're taking some chances, and they're putting you in positions where they can create turnovers and get steals. And I thought Alabama did a good job of taking care of the ball. They were great on offense. Obviously, the shots made, 22 made threes is an incredible number. But playing as well as they were offensively, moving the ball, playing with pace. And I think the stats ended up being 28 assists to just 11 turnovers. And that's 26 to 28 assists on, I think, 37 or 38 field goals. So Alabama was moving the ball. You hear Nate Oates talk all the time about ball movement and also player movement, the ball not sticking. It wasn't last night against a really good defensive team in Mississippi State.
And that seems to sort of be the MO when Phylon or Holloway is running the point now and letting Mark be off the ball a little bit, something Nate's talked about. Talk a little bit more about that. Why do you like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, I assume you like that lineup where Philon and Holloway sort of initiating the offense?
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. Listen, I like Mark Sears on the ball, off the ball. And I think what that does is it gives the defense different looks. And I thought that was a big reason for Alabama's success, especially late last year with Aaron Estrada, a guy that can really break you down off the dribble. And Mark Sears was able to find open space, whether on the ball or off the ball. And he's such a great shooter, especially a catch and shoot guy. When you have LeBaron Philon driving the lane, Aiden Holloway, the quickness and unselfishness of both of those guys. And if you bring a double team, you can't double team off Mark. Those guys have done a great job of finishing at the rim, but also if help comes, they're moving the ball. Mark's been able to benefit from that. And we've heard Nate Oates talk about the need for Mark to trust some of those new players like he did a veteran last year in Aaron Estrada. He's starting to do that and playing the best basketball of his career. And that's saying something. I mean, he was preseason first team All-American, SEC preseason player of the year, led Alabama to a Final Four last year. And right now he's playing his best basketball on both ends of the floor. A great sign for Alabama.
Bryan Passink will be in Knoxville this weekend as Alabama takes on Tennessee. 1-seed implications all over the place in that game for both teams. There's this perception that when you play a Rick Barnes team, the officiating crew matters. You do not have to use names here. But when you see, I don't know when you and Chris get the notification who's officiating, but when you see those names, will that have meaning when you're playing a game at Tennessee?
Yeah, a little bit. And just, even with different officiating crews and particular officials, you just never know how a game's going to be officiated. And that's not something that the players need to worry about. That's for the coaches to handle and for the broadcasters to complain about. So, that is, but it will be a key because Tennessee, the nation's number one defense, and the reason they're the number one ranked efficiency defense is they are so physical. And we've talked about Alabama needing to take care of the ball, and they did that in the last two games. But they're going to see a level of defense and physicality that maybe we haven't seen since Houston in Las Vegas or even Texas A&M. Mississippi State is a team that plays with a ton of physicality. But when you look at the length, the quickness, Tennessee has all of it on the defensive end. Oh, by the way, they're not bad on the offensive end. They're a potential national champion. They're really good there in Knoxville. So Alabama's going to have to be ready to play on both ends. But I think ball security and being ready for a physical game and not looking to the officials. If a foul is not called, you got to play through it and play with toughness. Alabama's done that the last couple of games, and hopefully that carries on to Knoxville on Saturday.
I will tell you, I think I'm the person that told Passink at game day who was officiating the Auburn-Alabama game.
Right.
Because Little T had shared it with me, so I showed it to Passink, and he was able to give me a scouting report on each of the three officials.
I think he had seen one of them a lot.
Yeah. This guy will lead the league in reviews. He started running through them, so it was really good. Hey, one thing before you get out of here. Chris Youngblood. Mark did mark things last night, scoring and assists, but Youngblood, his shot sometimes on the catch and release seems to be so quick. When you look at what Youngblood has brought to this team, put that into words for me. What do you see and see why and his contribution to this roster?
Wow, he means so much to this team. First of all, he's a coach on the floor, fifth-year senior from Tuscaloosa. It means so much to him to put on the Alabama uniform. And he didn't have a preseason because of injury and had surgery, and it took some time to come back. So we've seen what he can do, and I think he's going to get better and better as we get into towards the end of the year, as we saw last night, into the SEC and NCAA tournament. But he's a guy that is a great shooter, has strength, can guard, high basketball IQ, and when you've got guys like LeBaron Philon, Mark Sears, who can get downhill with a dribble drive, you can't help off a Chris Youngblood. That's going to help them getting in the lane. But knowing that you've got a veteran that you can trust that's a knockdown shooter. And when Aiden Holloway, Chris Youngblood, Mark Sears are open from the three-point line. I mean, just a sliver of an opening. You're shocked when they miss. These guys are playing great basketball right now, but it's going to be tested because these last 3 games of the season are as tough as it gets. I've never seen a final 3 games like Alabama has, going to Tennessee, number 5 in the country, hosting number 2 Florida, and then on the road at number 1 Auburn. So hope they continue to play at a high level on both ends of the floor. And if they do, Alabama's going to have a great chance in all of these games, but it is not going to be easy.
Georgia had Florida down 26. Is Florida even that good?
Ask Auburn. They're pretty good.
No, Florida's dang good, obviously.
At Auburn, Tennessee.
Yeah.
At home, they've beaten 2 number 1 teams. Listen, the SEC is so good, and I think even though Florida lost and came back, obviously that was a close game at the end, felt like they would come back and make that a game. They certainly did. But this league is so good because you've got teams that are bubble teams like Georgia that are capable of beating the best of the best in this league. South Carolina's the same way. I think they're 1-14. They had Florida beat. They had Auburn on the ropes. They've been really good against some of the better teams in this league. This league is ridiculous, top to bottom. There are no easy wins. That's why I appreciate what Alabama was able to do last night against a really good Mississippi State team.
All right, you can hear Bryan along with Chris Stewart, Tom Stipe, Roger Hoover, the entire gang from Knoxville on Saturday on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Find a station near you or watch BP on the camera there, as people seem to enjoy doing. Bryan, thank you very much for the time. Have a great week.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
All right, buddy. Good talking with you. Bryan Passink with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Brought to you in part today by our friends at Image Craft. Bryan Passink got a lot of his notes printed up, ready to go for each game. Man, when you print up for 35 games a year, probably should call our friends at Image Craft.
You really should, because you can print more and spend less with Image Craft. That's what they specialize in. Low-cost printer and copier supplies. They've been doing it for a very long time, so they know what they're doing, all right? They carry all the major brands: HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, Xerox. All your ink and toner supplies right there for great prices at Image Craft. You can visit them in person, Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down the road from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, where in-store you mentioned the next round and you get 10% off. Or you can shop online, imagecraft.net, with coupon code TNR10. And get 10% off online. They ship anything that's in stock for free to the Birmingham Metro. Ship free outside the area. Same day delivery in the Birmingham Metro. Anything in stock. See more at imagecraft.net. Imagecraft, print more, spend less.
I'm gonna say it like this: Auburn, Alabama. Anybody watching this, if you're a fan of them, you're really classy. You want to beat whoever you beat for the national championship to be fully healthy. You want to beat the best to be the best. I understand all that.
Okay.
But injuries are part of the game, and you got to keep an eye on injuries sometimes. And Duke won easily last night in Miami, 97-60. But keep an eye today on a report coming out. They'll do more tests, MRI, on the knee of Tyrese Proctor, the junior guard, 3rd on the team in scoring. He's the guy that initiates the offense. He's the guy that gets it going and gets it to Cooper Flagg to make Cooper Flagg-like plays. It's a knee. You never know. You never know.
Well, it
didn't look horrible.
No.
But sometimes the non-horrible stuff can be bad.
And this is a time of year where you're just not going to get any breaks. Well, I say that. They'll have a nice little break from the end of the North Carolina game until they have to play in their conference tournament.
Yeah, he doesn't really have to play in that. They're going to be a 1 seed.
I mean, you would have an opportunity where you could rest him at what they do in their conference tournament. It's not going to impact their seeding at all, as you said.
But, I mean, how serious is this?
I don't know. That's the question.
I mean,
you hope it's not at all. You hope you don't even have to cross that bridge. But John Shire, I guess if there was a time where you had a guy that you needed to rest and injury, this is the time you'd want to do it.
Yeah. But everybody's dealing with him. Auburn fans know that Janai's been limping around all year long. Iowa State's been dealing with injuries. They got beat by lowly Oklahoma State last night, 74-68. Turnovers and just rustiness of the injuries. Iowa State doesn't look the same right now. And Illinois, who finally got a win again last night, beat Iowa. They've been decimated with injuries. Trying to get back healthy. Some of these teams will have this lull and then come back and get healthy for the tournament, and that's where it starts screwing up your bracket a little bit. I almost said something wrong there.
Yeah, boy, you did.
Yeah, it starts messing up your bracket a little bit there. So it's you got to keep an eye on the injuries, and you don't want anybody to get hurt. Keep an eye on what happened at Duke there last night. All right, viewing menu every day brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. What Tyler is watching, tell us about Michelson.
You can do what Lance did and go from darn near blind to fighter pilot vision with LASIK surgery from Michelson Laser Vision. Dr. Mark Michelson and his daughter, Dr. Jennifer Michelson, are pioneers in this field, and they have done great work for many, many people in our audience. They could do the same for you. Give yourself the gift of better vision. MichelsonLaserVision.com or 969-8100. That's 205 area code. 969-8100. Michelson Laser Vision. Tyler.
All right, tonight at 8:30 on Showtime, and if you don't have Showtime, it's also on Paramount Plus. One of the best horror movies of the decade. It is Talk to Me. It centers around friends playing around with an embalmed hand that can conjure spirits, and things go bad, as things tend to do when teenagers get into possessed hands and stuff like that.
That's it's a wild one right there, Tyler. I've never heard of this movie.
Me either. So it's one of the best horror films of all time.
Of this decade.
Of this decade. Okay.
Yes, only this decade. Okay.
I've never heard of it. So there's there's an embalmed hand, just a hand, no arm, no body, just a hand.
Correct.
And you carry the hand around, and it conjures up evilness.
Yes.
Well, I'd get rid of the hand. I don't know how the movie ends, but I'd do that.
Does the hand crawl back at some point?
No, it doesn't.
Does the hand move on its own ever?
No, it's not like Cousin Id or anything.
Okay.
Or not Cousin Id.
Not a Cousin Id thing. Yeah.
Well, that's an old reference.
There it is. I was surprised Tyler knew that one, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, what else tonight?
Also tonight at 7 p.m. on the Paramount Network, you've got Gladiator, widely considered one of the best movies of all time.
Fantastic.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. Near perfect movie. I don't know what I would have done differently. I've not watched the second one, but the first one is, that's near perfection.
I mean, you give me a choice both on Paramount, Talk to Me, or one of the greatest movies of all time, Gladiator.
You're going to go Gladiator? Well, you've seen Gladiator.
Easy choice. I'm going to be at Auburn tonight, so I'm not watching any of this crap you're telling me. Go ahead.
Blake says Talk to Me was good. Definitely crazy second half of the film, he says. So there's somebody in the chat room.
Crazy?
Tyler, yeah.
I believe Luganville recommended it to Lance a while back.
All right.
And if you don't want to watch any movies tonight, you can flip over to A&E at 7 p.m., and there's a 2-hour marathon of Live PD. I think it's one of the best reality shows ever made, and it's great background noise.
That's the guy that was doing is it Dan Abrams? Is that who hosted? No, it's not.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
former reporter. News reporter?
Former reporter, and I can't remember the whole thing, but he had one of the most popular shows. It was a version of Live PD, and then something happened. I can't remember what happened, and he got fired from that, and he started this. People love that thing, that Live PD.
So is Live Police Department chatter or anything like that?
I don't think it's actually live. I think they present it as if it's live.
Yeah, it used to be live, but it's just body cam footage with the commentary from a police officer in the station.
But live to tape is what we used to call it in the business.
Yeah, he'll treat it like it's live, though. Like he'll go, all right, let's go back out to this incident that's unfolding in Chicago. We've got a traffic stop here, and apparently the gentleman in the car has a gun and he refuses to get out. We're going to go back out to Chicago. I don't think it's really live. I think he's playing. He's playing that up like it's live.
Live to tape, yeah.
Because as soon as they go back out to Chicago, we're like, all right, out of the car! It's just timed perfectly.
Cue, ready, go.
Yes.
All right, that's what, is that it? Any more?
That's everything.
That is what Tyler is watching tonight, the Michelson Laser Vision viewing menu of the day. And also the Lock brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill, lanceslock.com. Go get a play with Lance. Basketball tonight all over the place, including SEC games. Auburn, #1 in the country, hosting Ole Miss. Vandy's at Texas A&M. Kentucky's at Oklahoma. Texas and Arkansas, all with NCAA tournament implications and seeding implications. Lance has plays on some of those games for you and a lot more in basketball at lanceslock.com. It's brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. For the name Birmingham has trusted since the 1950s for everything from plumbing to your heating and cooling. If it's not running right, flowing right, or draining right, Hemp Hill can take care of you. They've got the experience, and they have been doing it for a long, long time. Call them up, 205-229-2090, or just remember the name Hemp Hill and make sure you're in good standing with your heating, cooling, and plumbing with our friends at Hemp Hill.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Okay, we're going to get into this North Carolina situation for a second because it happened as the show was ending, and a lot of people were talking about it at Coleman Coliseum last night as well. Again, Alabama wins last night. Auburn playing host to Ole Miss tonight, trying to sweep the Rebels, no longer a top 25 team, but have been for most of the year. Let's set the table on that first. This hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. You can give me cut 5, Tyler, while I tell everyone about Daniel A. Moore and the great work he's done for Alabama. fans over the years. I mean, there's some Auburn stuff too, like Bo Over the Top and some other teams. You can go check it all out online at danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. But right now they're celebrating the Eagles Super Bowl championship with some great Alabama players and some old works right there at danielmooreart.com. Roll, Eagles, roll. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and Landon Dickerson with some old works from their days in Tuscaloosa, the Super Bowl champions. You can get on there right now, danielmooreart.com, and check out the promo code TNR to get that bonus offer there with danielmooreart.com. All right, so Ole Miss Auburn tonight, Neville Arena. That makes it advantage Auburn. They won in Oxford, hitting 14 threes. But Bruce says it's never easy beating a team for the second time in the regular season.
How challenging is it to beat a team twice, and how much do you take from the first game?
Well, you take a lot from the first game because you throw your best stuff at them. If we play as well as we did in Oxford, we'll win. But that was one of our best games. So, but you learn a great deal. What you did well, what you didn't do well, and then just try to anticipate what adjustments you need to make, and then anticipate what adjustments you think that Ole Miss is going to make. Like, for example, against Georgia, I was not anticipating them coming out with a 3-2 zone. Ole Miss has zone in their package. They haven't played a lot. They very well might play it. So we'll prepare for some, just in case we see it.
A win tonight, and then it's just a matter of time before Auburn wins the SEC regular season championship in all likelihood. That's how important it is tonight. Auburn's only won the SEC regular season championship either outright or a share 4 other times. 1960, 1999, 2018, and 2022, the last 2 under Bruce Pearl. That SEC regular season championship's a big deal. And with Florida's loss last night, and you got the ending game with Alabama, you're in a really, really good spot tonight. If you can beat Ole Miss, you can almost start picking when you want to cut the net down.
Yeah, I mean, you asked the question after the first Auburn-Alabama game. When it's the Alabama-Auburn game at Neville Arena, will the SEC regular season championship be on the line or be clinched? I think it'll be clinched by then.
Yeah, I think we all agreed that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to take the scissors on the road to College Station. Maybe you get a chance to do it this weekend at Rupp. I mean,
yeah, I don't think they let you do it on the road.
Yeah, technically you get the opportunity. I guess Alabama doesn't play until after you on Saturday because you got the 12 noon ABC game. Alabama plays at 3.
Yeah.
So there'll be no way of knowing where you stand at that point. But there is a chance by Saturday Auburn has clinched the outright SEC regular season championship.
Well, the tricky thing becomes, like if you choose to do it at your next home game, that would be the Alabama game. If you lose that game, it does feel kind of weird to say, okay, I know we lost, everybody. We're about to celebrate winning the SEC regular season. Let's bring out the ladders and cut down the nets. Kind of feels weird to do it after a loss.
Yeah, but you can't do it tonight.
But you can't do it on the road. You can't do it tonight and you can't do it on the road.
So really, if
I don't even know if they would do it. I mean, I know normally you cut down the nets when you win the regular season championship. Now, if you beat Alabama, 100% you do it. You drag those ladders out there and you party like it's,
So even if it's clinched this Saturday with a week to go, or if you clinch it by just you winning all your games and Alabama winning all theirs, if you clinch it in College Station, they're not going to let you cut it down at College Station?
I would not think so. Would you think they would? I mean, I don't think Texas A&M's going to sure, bring the ladders out and cut down in our building a net. Yeah.
You're going to pay us for the nets, though, right?
Yeah, that's right. Our ladders they're behind the paint cans. We can't really get to them.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense that you never see it on the road. I mean, it's neutral site when you see them in the tournaments.
Right.
When you cut down nets. Yeah, that's weird that it could happen regardless, even if it's been clinched for a couple of weeks, it could happen after the Alabama game.
Yeah, I mean, you would want to do it at Neville, and your only chance after tonight is going to be after the Bama game. And as I said, if you beat Alabama, it's a no-brainer. If you lose to Alabama, it would feel kind of weird to have a net-cutting party after you lost to your arch rival. I don't know.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't know what you either don't cut them down or you just agree, hey, win or lose against Bama, we're going to cut them down and use it as motivation. Do not let our arch rival come in here and ruin you guys cutting the nets down. Our fans are paying tickets to come watch you play and cut the nets down.
Really interesting tonight. Janai Broome is 9 points away from becoming the 86th Division I college basketball player ever to go over 2,500 points in a career. Now, I know that sounds – I've heard that before. Back in January, Mark Sears was the 85th player to go over the 2,500 career mark. Hasn't happened a lot. I mean, the history of D1 basketball, and you're talking about just not even to 100 yet, and we've got a really good chance, barring injury, that it's going to happen in the same season with two different players in the state. But Janai's just 9 away from that happening tonight as Auburn plays at 6 down at Neville against Ole Miss in an important game seeding-wise for the Rebel. Not as desperate as Georgia and Arkansas was the last 2 games. Ole Miss comfortably in the tournament. Let's do our McCurry Spotlight if we can here. And I want to get back to college football, and then we will talk about that North Carolina situation after that coming up, involving at some point a little Nate Oates discussion and then a lot of Hubert Davis and Bill Belichick discussion. But first, a little football timeout here, Tyler, if you will.
The College Football Spotlight
is presented each day by McCurry Van and Car Rental. They make it easy to rent. They get you in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest at Coleman, Skyland Boulevard, and Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today. 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
All right, Brownie. In the NFL, we talk all the time about the turnover, the change that you always get in the playoffs. It's almost, It's almost 50%. The playoff field from one year to the next year, it's almost a 50% turnover. Half the teams don't make it back the next year. That's sort of the stat, right? It's close to it.
I mean, it doesn't play out every year, but I think on average there is a 50% turnover in NFL playoff teams. And every year I think we look at it and we're like, whoa, well, I just can't see that team not making the playoffs next year. And every year a team misses the playoffs that you think there's no way they would have missed.
Yeah, this year like 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good
Cowboys.
example. Yeah, I mean, 49ers are a better example because they've been a consistent playoff team. And, look, you get 1 or 2 injuries in the NFL and it kills you. I mean, it's so much easier to overcome that in college. You get them in the NFL and you miss the playoffs in a hurry.
Would you say from 2014 through 2023 that the 4-team college football playoff at times seemed a little redundant?
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of Ohio State, a lot of Alabama, a lot of Clemson, and a lot of Georgia.
Yeah, and a lot of Oklahoma. They never won it.
A lot of Oklahoma, yeah.
Early on, a lot of Oklahoma. Well, 1 year of the 12-team playoff, there's a storyline, and this is just college sports, college football. I understand this. I don't want to go Carl Ravage here and make it very obvious. But it is very interesting to me that if you take last year's 12-team playoffs, I would say on surface you don't expect it to be a 50% turnover every year, 6 teams in, 6 teams out.
No,
but
I wouldn't expect 50%, no.
But the potential is there if you just look at returning quarterbacks.
Okay.
National championship Ohio State, they have a new starter.
Yeah, they'll be back.
Julian Sayin. Okay, so you're saying they're back.
I'm saying they're back. I'll do the 12 here. I'll give you if I think we get to 50% or not.
Notre Dame gets C.J. Carr at quarterback. They're changing quarterbacks as well.
We've looked at their schedule. It is a much better schedule if they had played it this year versus next year, I think. I'll put them back.
Okay. Semifinal loser, Texas. Arch Manning's the quarterback.
I'll put them back. That's 3.
If I can hit timeout real quick on this.
I had to think on Notre Dame, so.
Just if you're in the Arch Manning's going to be the second coming of Tim Tebow or the greatest quarterback ever to suit up, keep in mind that yesterday from the NFL Combine, word came out that Quinn Ewers played the entire season from early on week 2 against Michigan through the playoffs with a torn oblique muscle. Was reported not after the Michigan game when he came out of week 3 in the UTSA game as a strained oblique. And he still came back after missing a game against Mississippi State and played the rest of the year. But now Quinn Ewers and doctors can tell everyone It was actually a torn oblique muscle. So you had a quarterback that from basically after the Mississippi State game through the college football playoffs, including the SEC championship loss, that played with a torn oblique muscle, and Arch Manning was never the guy you chose to be the starting quarterback. If you're in the I don't think Arch Manning is going to be all that camp, that may be one good example to say he couldn't beat the guy that had a torn oblique muscle.
So you're in Lance's camp. What Lance has often said
I'm not
is,
saying that. I'm just saying if you are in Lance's
well, I know,
camp.
but that's what he has often said. If he were that much better, he would have played in front of Quinn Ewers last year because there were – I mean, now he did replace Quinn Ewers against Georgia. That's a thing that happened, not because of injury, but because Quinn Ewers was ineffective against Georgia. They went to Arch.
Regular season game.
Yeah, regular season game. Yeah, I guess I should have pointed that out. He played very little in the SEC championship game against Georgia.
Yeah.
But, again, that game went to overtime. I don't know if there was necessarily a reason. I do remember watching Texas play against Ohio State before their offense broke out a little bit, and just in you're texting your buddies when you're watching the game, right? There was a lot of chatter on my text threads about when do they go to Arch, when do they go to Arch. So, I mean,
they never did.
They never did,
including first and goal.
Yeah, no, that was the puzzling one. So if you're in the camp that believes that if Arch Manning was that much better, he would have played last year in front of Quinn Ewers, that certainly backs you up on that they even played Ewers with a torn oblique muscle.
National championship, national runner-up, semifinal loser, all new quarterbacks.
All right, I'm three.
All three are in?
I would say that I do worry a little bit about Notre Dame, but I'll leave them in.
Penn State, semifinal loser, quarterback back. Drew Aller's back.
I think Penn State, the expanded playoff is going to benefit them probably as much as anybody in college football because Penn State has consistently been good enough to be a two-loss team, but not good enough to beat the best teams on their schedule, the Ohio States, Oregons, and Michigans of the world. Well, you're in a world now where you don't have to do that if you're Penn State. All you got to do is be a two-loss team, and you're in every year, so I'll put them back in. That's 4.
Georgia, starting quarterback gone. Gunnar Stockton is now your guy. He's now first-time starter, even though he started the playoff games, but still.
I think I would have them back.
Dante Moore, number 1 overall seed, Oregon, replacing Dylan Gabriel. Here's Dante Moore, new starting quarterback.
I think I would have them back. So I'm up to 50% back already. So I'm going to kick some people out, but I think we're about to get to the point where I can start kicking people out.
Okay. Well, see, now here's your problem. Now you've got quarterbacks who are back.
Oh, well, that may not be a good thing.
5 of your 6.
Yeah.
That I just gave you that you have all in, have new starting quarterbacks.
That may not be a good thing, though, because you're about to hit one that I think starting quarterback might not put me over the edge with them.
Arizona State.
They're out, so there's one. There's one that's out. Yep.
Clemson's Cade Klubnik.
I mean, they barely got in this year. I'll have Clemson out again.
Brown, there's nobody that's going to contend with them in the ACC.
I know.
They got to have at least one ACC team in.
They had to have Mario Cristobal throw up all over the turf at Syracuse just to get in the ACC championship game.
Tennessee and Nico Amilieva.
Yeah, there's another one where I don't think starter back affects me that much. Nico has been very questionable. I would have Tennessee out. I would have Tennessee out of the playoffs. So that's 3 straight I got out. Now I do. Clemson is tricky for me, but
and then the ones that people don't really expect back: Indiana, SMU, and the group of 5 doesn't matter. Boise.
I mean, I don't think
Boise could be back.
I don't think it's that crazy that you got 50% turnover. I wonder about Notre Dame. I'd kind of put Notre Dame, Tennessee, and Clemson in the group where I wouldn't confidently say they're out or in. I had Notre Dame not very confidently in, and I would say I've got Clemson and Tennessee not very confidently out. I'd probably should put Clemson in. I'd probably right now say I would see it as 7 and 5, 7 in, 5 out.
The ones that were just first 3 out, first 4 out: Alabama, new starting quarterback; Ole Miss, new starting quarterback; Miami, different quarterback, though he's experienced in Carson Beck; and then there's poor old South Carolina. Lenore Sellers there, everybody's sexy offseason pick, right there waiting to make the college football playoffs. So a lot of the teams that you would consider playoff teams last year expect to be back, new starters. The big contenders who were just out, new starters. That's life at quarterback in the college football world. I understand that. But it'll be interesting to see if we do have like the NFL, a near 50% turnover every year in the 12-team playoff.
Nicholas said Penn State had the best draw in the tournament. This is the mybookie.ag chat room. Best draw in the tournament. Penn State did have the best draw in the tournament. You see what they did with it, right? Couldn't make it to the championship. That's just James Franklin. Daniel says Florida in over Georgia, calling it right now.
Wow. So that would also mean a cocktail party win, probably.
You'd almost have to have that. Nicholas says, and you're going to hear a lot of this as it relates to Lenora Sellers. Like, I think he showed you that he could be a legitimate Heisman candidate. With Mike Shula as offensive coordinator, I don't see it, Nicholas says. I think that is going to be an off-season storyline that we'll have to see if it plays out the way everybody thinks it plays out. But especially people in this state are going to say Mike Shula's offense and Lenora Sellers aren't a marriage.
That is our McCurry spotlight today. Back to basketball in just a second.
McCurryRentals.com. That's where you start. McCurryRentals.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Everyone's like, Jim, you've got a collared shirt on today. What's going on?
I did. Well, you do look nice today. I was giving you a compliment.
Well, I fit into my collared shirts again.
Congrats.
Thanks to weight loss with our friends at Way to Wellness. Your journey to healthy living is all right there. One click away. A planforme.com. A planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness. Leslie and her board-certified team will take care of you. There's no contract. There's no sign-up fee. And the first consultation is absolutely free. Wonderful work there. Great customer service. And listen, if you ever are looking to change careers, check that out. See if they've got job openings occasionally posted there at aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com continuing to expand and grow a wonderful business there. Meal replacement, protein bars, which I use, injection therapy. They've got it all for you there. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All right, big picture here. What's going on in North Carolina is several things that we're going to talk about here. But there was a buzz at the end of last week going into the weekend that some money people at North Carolina, the same type money people that sort of went out and started working up Bill Belichick to eventually become the football head coach, were starting to sniff around Nate Oates' representation in people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of that's true or not, but you started to hear North Carolina boards, message boards, and fans, the name Nate Oates became a hot commodity.
Why would it not?
Why would it not?
Yeah.
You know, just like Jimmy Dykes would say.
I don't pay attention to this, but Jimmy has Nate Oates taking jobs all the time.
I don't know. I have fans who are hitting me up at the game last night. Why is Jimmy Dykes always trying to get Nate Oates hired somewhere else? I was like, I'm at the games. Usually I don't hear what Jimmy's saying, but apparently occasionally Jimmy Dykes, at least according to some Alabama fans, makes it sound like that somebody's going to come hire Nate Oates away from, someday. Somebody's going to come make a run at Nate Oates, I think.
Well, I think that's already happened.
Happened last year. It will probably happen every year he's in Tuscaloosa.
I mean, I would imagine so. Again, why would you not? Now, Nate Oates has said a lot of things that will indicate that there may not be the college job that could get him out of Tuscaloosa. If there is, it's going to have to be one of the top ones. But based on some of the stuff he has said and some of the stuff I've been told about him, just, behind-the-scenes stuff, I'm not certain there is a college job that would pry him away from Tuscaloosa. And I don't think there's an NBA job for the time being that would.
What really is crazy is that you would think of North Carolina as possibly being that job. But I have never seen North Carolina, which always looks prim, proper, buttoned up, I's dotted, T's crossed. Everything's by the book, in order. North Carolina's always had that perception for me. Bubba Cunningham, longtime athletic director, sort of a steward of the game. But boy, since right before Belichick was hired until what happened yesterday with the news breaking about this Hubert Davis contract, this place, I mean, Auburn gets painted sometimes. SEC schools get painted sometimes of dysfunctional big boosters and athletic direction and maybe the marriage not always connecting there. North Carolina looks like that one person is singing from the hymnal and the other one's playing a jazz solo. These two aren't together.
So yesterday was an interesting day for North Carolina.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, here's what happened. We hit the story right at the end of the show with Hubert Davis, contract extension. So what happened was a local reporter is doing a story about salaries in college basketball, and he needs Hubert Davis's official salary. So he goes to the North Carolina Athletic Department. It's a public school. These are public contracts. And he's like, hey, can I just get a copy of Coach's contract? I'm doing a story. Just need that. And when they send the copy of the contract, this reporter notices this contract started in December.
Yeah. Of 2024.
2024. Apparently there is a website that the athletic department just posts the coaches' contracts on and has those updated contracts. And they claim it was a clerical error that prevented the Hubert Davis contract from being posted on that website. That the updated contract that was agreed upon in December that gave reportedly a significant raise to Hubert Davis. A significant raise.
And by the way, they were not off to a great start.
No, which is why everybody is like, yeah, sure, it was a clerical error.
By
you
the
just
way,
didn't want to take the heat.
Yeah. By the way, in today's world, we call that a secret contract.
And that's the way it's being called in the media, is a secret contract extension to Hubert
Davis signed a secret contract.
Yeah. So I don't, I don't know what it does to the buyout. The terms are, shady right now. I don't know that anybody has reported what the buyout is. And that's the big thing you wonder about, right, Jim, is not necessarily what he's making salary-wise, but how much is it going to cost for him not to show up. It's a 2-year contract extension. So it added 2 years to a buyout, whatever the buyout is. Now, was it a renegotiated buyout? We'll give you a bigger raise, but we got to
lesser on the buyout.
Lesser on the buyout. You see that sometimes. But I get the feeling that this was a Hubert Davis beneficial contract, and for some reason, North Carolina didn't want it to go public.
There seems to be a power struggle going on between Bubba Cunningham and the folks on campus at UNC and the money people at North Carolina.
So, North Carolina gets viewed as this program that they've got the bottomless pit of money. It's North Carolina athletics, right? Well, two things you got to remember about that is, number one,
no, smoking's not legal.
Smoking is
not in a lot of places.
The tobacco industry is not the oil industry, right?
Tobacco Road is not Beverly Hills anymore.
Yes, it's not the oil industry. We're never going to get off oil, but we got off tobacco at some point. No, the first thing you got to remember is there are not many, if any, athletic programs in America that fund more sports than North Carolina does. I believe it's up to 32 now, men's and women's sports.
So they've got 32 Tar Heel teams.
And I am going to submit to you that 2 of the 32 are profitable, football and basketball. I would feel very confident that their baseball team doesn't turn a profit. So you're funding 32 programs, which is not cheap to do, by the way. You got to, pay salaries. You got to build facilities.
Yeah, you pay tuition.
Yeah, and what you've got to remember is, like, for instance, North Carolina has apparently a world-class field hockey program. Not a lot of schools play field hockey. But the field hockey coach has gone out and he's gotten a couple of his booster buddies that are like, hey, we want to build Terry a good field hockey facility. So Bubba Cunningham, athletic director, has got to be, well, what am I supposed to do here? Well, Terry, if your guys can raise $28 million, you can build your field hockey facility. And well, guess what Terry's guys do? They go out and they beat the bushes. They raise $28 million. So Bubba Cunningham builds the field hockey building, right? Well, that's $28 million that's not going to NIL, and it's not going to Hubert Davis contract. And then here comes Bill Belichick. You're paying your Mac Brown, whatever you're paying Mac Brown. You go hire Bill Belichick. You pay him $10 million. That is a lot of money to pay a football coach. And Bill Belichick doesn't come without the entourage, much like Nick Saban, where I got an army of analysts, I've got Michael Lombardi, I've got all these people. You're paying him $10 million, and you're paying all these people. You've just significantly increased what you're paying your football program.
Yeah, at a minimum, you match the $10 million with another $10 million with the staff and support personnel.
Yeah, and then you're in the ACC, whose TV contracts lag way behind the SEC and the Big Ten. So you've got one of the biggest athletic departments in America. You're paying now SEC and Big Ten level money in your head football coach and your basketball coach in the secret contract, and you're doing it on an ACC TV budget. The money is not endless as much as people might think it is at places like this. And the biggest issue now is Bill Belichick comes in, and it's weird. I had read this from Matt Hayes, our buddy Matt Hayes in USA Today about a week ago. And then I recently was talking to somebody that's got, strangely, I know this person, and they've got really good connections at North Carolina. And I brought this story up to him. I was like, hey, I was reading this story about Matt Hayes because we were talking about the same thing, like Hubert Davis probably going to get fired. And this guy at the time, this was the secret contract. He didn't know about the contract. And he's like, let me tell you what's going on in North Carolina. He goes, Matt Hayes is onto something here. He goes, Bill Belichick took this job. He got $10 million, and he got a big NIL commitment. And Hubert Davis can't get the same NIL commitments. And a lot of the NIL money is going to try to make Bill Belichick the football coach everybody thinks he can be at North Carolina, and it's coming at the expense of North Carolina basketball. And this person was telling me, this is like, when coaches look to take this job, they're going to know this. They're going to know that basketball is not necessarily running the ship in Chapel Hill the way it has for the last 100 years. Bill Belichick has changed that. So I do think if they had fired Hubert Davis at the end of this year, it was going to be really interesting to see the type of coach they could go get. I don't know that it's the level coach that everybody thinks North Carolina is going to get.
Yeah, you would think in yesteryear, as a blue blood, North Carolina, one of the top 5 coaches in America, Nate Oates, or anyone else, that they would choose from that top 5 list usually.
Right. And by the way, the field hockey was not a made-up story. That was the story I was told, is that, that was used as an example of what's going on at North Carolina. Is you get one of these really quality Olympics programs, but a kid that's a really good field hockey player goes on and becomes a stockbroker and makes $100 million, and then he's got some buddies. His dad made $100 million. That's a little stereotypical what I did there, but I think that's exactly what happened. Is you had some guys that played field hockey. They don't have professional field hockey.
Right.
These guys go on and they do other things in life, and they become really successful. And then when the coach is like, I've won 6 field hockey national championships, I need my own facility, all he does is go to the kid that used to play for him that's a stockbroker, and instead of giving $20 million to basketball, he gives $20 million to field hockey. Those numbers matter. I mean, it's not a bottomless supply there.
By the way, North Carolina basketball just hired NBA agent Jim Tanner to be their general manager for basketball. So there's a GM. We've seen this very popular now in college football. This NBA agent who's represented 40 first-round draft picks, he's got his own agency, so he's going to step away from that agency and be the general manager of North Carolina basketball. He's a North Carolina grad, and also North Carolina grad and former coach Buzz Peterson is being hired at North Carolina to also assist the new general manager to help with personnel and NIL and all of that. So that's another major commitment that has happened to support Hubert Davis off of the new secret contract he signed. So interesting times at North Carolina.
Would you bet against a job opening there now? I think I would. First of all, they may make the tournament.
That's the way everyone was reacting yesterday, that well, this closes the door on North Carolina. Alabama fans don't have to worry about Nate Oates going to North Carolina now, even if you may not have worried about it to begin with. And Nate may not even think about it. But North Carolina is one of those jobs that gets a lot of people's attention, much like Kentucky did last year when it opened.
I would bet against an opening right now, and especially if they make the NCAA tournament. And now, just making the tournament is never good enough for North Carolina. I completely get that. But especially if Hubert Davis happens to get in there and makes the Sweet 16 again, it would be hard to fire him.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 downs when we come back, and also some interesting NFL news, and back to college football we go here on the show, that is being brought to you today by a couple of our great sponsors. One of them is our wonderful friends at Johnston RV Center. Tell us about Johnston RV.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 Indicator is where you find Johnston RV Center, right up there on I-65, and you can find them online at johnstonrvcenter.com. They want you to see America this spring and summer. So they've got great prices right now, as low as $129 a month. They've got travel trailers, toy haulers, the fifth wheels, the big RVs, motorhomes, whatever you are looking for, they can do it right there at Johnston RV Center. RV warranty forever. Make sure you get a lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned. You could see more at johnstonrvcenter.com.
And our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Listen, I apologize to all you meat-loving Americans who listen and watch our show. The last 2 times we talked New York Butcher Shop, these 2 wahoos over here, Brownie and LT, talked about rice, this rice recipe and all that.
It's a great side.
Oh, it's fantastic, but it's a butcher shop, right? Mm-hmm. So when you go see Jim at the butcher shop, go get some big cuts of fresh meats right there. Unbelievable selection there. It's a butcher shop. It's old school. It's New York Butcher Shop, Cahaba Heights in Greystone, nybutcher.com, nybutcher.com online. Don't forget the deli sandwiches for lunch. The wine selection is top of the line. Nothing like it anywhere. It is nybutcher.com, our friends at New York Butcher.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
Alabama loves champions. And you know what they say, the more, the merrier. The Alabama High School Basketball Finals, presented by Alabama Community College System, February 27th to March 1st on APT.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Roback. Go to roback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money. Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
All right, we roll on here. 4 downs in just a second. Brandon Marcello will join us at the top of the hour. Brandon's got a little breaking news right here. We'll give it to you right after Brownie tells us about our friends at A+. It's the A+ breaking news of the day.
All right. I like breaking news of the day. The folks at A+ Bath and Kitchen, that is who redid the master bath in the Brown home. A+bathandkitchen.com is the website. A+bathandkitchen.com. They specialize in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's their specialty. Not to say it's all they do, but that is their specialty. And they can make that home look new for you. And here's the good news. When you go to sell your home, you can make a little bit of money back on that, right? But while you use your home, you're going to enjoy the time you spend in the master bath, in the kitchen, and the master bedroom closets. See more. You can see my before and after. Scott shows you those all the time, and you can see many, many more at aplusbathandkitchen.com. Here's the number, 205-422-1758. That's 205-422-1758 or aplusbathandkitchen.com.
Pretty significant, at least here in our state, because Jim Nagy is one of the most respected names when it comes to college transition to NFL, because he runs the Senior Bowl. Well-respected scout, personnel guy. He's been the executive director of the Senior Bowl for a while. Brandon Marcello and others reporting that he is leaving the Senior Bowl to become Oklahoma's general manager for college football, that growing position of general manager.
I tell you, if you want to be a GM, that's a good gig. Being at the Senior Bowl, Phil Savage, our buddy, was Senior Bowl GM and our Senior Bowl director, and left to be the assistant GM at the Jets, and eventually became the actual GM at the Jets when there were some firings. And now his replacement, Jim Nagy, is going to be the GM for Oklahoma. That is a significant move, because it just shows you how much these programs are going to value that with Jim's NFL experience as an NFL scout, and then scouting college football players for the Senior Bowl. It's a natural move.
Helps you in the portal, because he is very used to scouting every player in the country and inviting him to the Senior Bowl. Oklahoma's statement, as you saw there, Oklahoma is implementing a progressive new structure uniquely tailored to meet the most current challenges in college football. That's the portal and NIL, managing a roster, managing a quote-unquote salary cap in some places. So that will be a interesting move there. Now, Alabama fans were introduced very quickly to Courtney Morgan when Kalen DeBoer came from Washington. First guy to get on the plane with Kalen DeBoer was Courtney Morgan. And as soon as he got here, first thing that happened, USC tried to hire Courtney Morgan away from Kalen DeBoer and from Alabama. And he got a pay raise, but turned down more money at USC to stay with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. And that position has continued to grow in college football since that day. And now Jim Nagy is part of it at Oklahoma. Interesting there, as the name, Michael Lombardi is Bill Belichick's college general manager. He's a former NFL general manager.
That's right, with him at the Patriots, and had gone into the media business, and Belichick thought so much of him that when he took the North Carolina job, he pulls him out of the media business and puts him in that role.
Yeah, you cannot undervalue what the GMs are doing now in places like Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and everywhere else. That gets us to our 4 downs today, and more basketball still to come, but we'll bring Brandon Marcello in to talk about that. Breaking news from him, and also Hugh Freeze on the hot seat, and everything else going on in college football, including the changing landscape of the playoffs. Marcello at the top of the hour. But right now, 4 downs brought to you by our friends at Slice.
You can find Slice throughout the Birmingham area. It's easy. Just go slicebirmingham.com to find one of the great locations near you. Some of the most original pizza. I had lunch there on Monday. I actually had the Italian sub. I've fallen in love with that Italian sub that they've got there. But the Hot Mama.
Does it have onions on it?
The soul pie. It does. I get it with no onions. The soul pie.
I knew you were not an onion guy. That surprised me.
The soul pie, which also has onions on it. I get it with no onions, but it is my favorite there. The Wing and a Prayer. Just excellent, excellent pizza and subs and good cold drinks right there at Slice. See more at slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
They love him back in the kitchen, right? Changing the way things are made.
No onions. That's not that big of a request.
First down here. More interesting to you right now, the Luka storyline or the Ovechkin storyline? Luka last night, triple-double versus his old team, the Mavericks. They're 7-2, the Lakers are, since Luka joined the team, or since the trade anyway. 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists last night. Or Alex Ovechkin, who is, now this isn't the home run chase, but if Wayne Gretzky, whether you're a hockey fan or not, is the great one, and I think the average sports fan knows who Wayne Gretzky is. Another goal last night for Ovechkin. He's now 12 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky. Which storyline's more intriguing to you?
I mean, I'm not going to probably watch much of either, but to think that anybody's passing Gretzky for any sort of NHL record is remarkable.
Yeah.
So I would go with that one. Ovechkin passing Wayne Gretzky. Like, I would have just assumed every massive record that Gretzky had was untouchable in hockey. So to hear Ovechkin is that close is pretty wild.
Let's do second down. I agree
Second
with you.
down.
I'll go Ovechkin as well. The Luka thing is, I'm sure, it probably is more popular than.
Don't really care to the playoffs,
Ovechkin.
honestly, yeah.
Maryland basketball in action tonight against Michigan State, 5:30 Big Ten Network. Their starting five, the nickname of their starting five. Have you seen this?
Is this the worst? Is this the worst nickname you teased? Okay.
Forrester, have you seen their nickname for their starting five? By the way, they are making it out like their starting five leads the country, Forrester, in points per game, right at 70 that the starting lineup is scoring. Not a lot of help off the bench. The Maryland starting five is known as the Crab Five.
Oh,
the Crab.
That's pretty bad.
I'll say it again so you can grunt again, Forrester. Yes. The Crab Five.
Oh.
So they're all from Maryland?
I thought so too. I did not find that to be true.
Because
anywhere.
You remember Michigan State had the Flintstones. There were, what was it, Mo Peterson, Mateen Cleaves, and one more from Flint.
Yeah. I don't know if they're. It would be better if they were all from Maryland.
But no.
I do not think that was not pointed out in the first 4 paragraphs of the story I was reading. But the Crab Five, obviously a little play off of the Fab Five with Michigan back in the day.
Is this a real thing?
The Crab Five?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not making it up. It's just horrible. So I wanted to ask you whether it was your favorite or your worst sports nickname grouping of all time. I'll go first. As a kid, I was not an Atlanta Falcons fan, but as a kid, their defense was known as the Grits Blitz for a brief period of time.
You didn't like that?
I loved it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that was a bad nickname.
I was putting this in the category. But, that was back when there was not a lot of Southern franchises. They had those wonderful red uniforms, red helmets, and Steve Barkowski was on the offensive side. But the defense really set the tone, and they were known as the Grits Blitz. And I thought that was one of the great nicknames in sports ever.
I do like the Grits Blitz. I mean, it took me a second to, and I guess I'm just stupid, but it took me a second to associate the Crab Five with the Fab Five. When you first read it, did it take you a minute to associate those two?
It did. It was in the article that I read. Yeah. So Grits Blitz was important for me.
Grits Blitz was good.
One of my least favorite growing up was the Milwaukee Brewers in the early 80s. I think it was the early 80s. They had a good team, and they were called the Harvey Wallbangers because their head coach was Harvey somebody.
Yeah, and they banged the wall.
And they hit a lot of home runs, I guess. And I always thought that was stupid. And I really didn't even know what that was named after. Harvey Wallbangers. Thought that was a stupid nickname. Did not love what was Canseco and McGuire known?
The Bash Brothers?
The Bash Brothers.
You didn't like that?
Didn't like the Bash Brothers either.
I mean, I didn't necessarily like them. I didn't think it was a bad nickname, though.
What about you?
I'm trying. The Dolphins had the Killer Bee defense and the no-name defense. I kind of like the no-name defense.
Both of those were good. Killer Bees were good.
Yeah, and the no-name defense, the Steel Curtain defense is fantastic.
Yeah. What was your receivers called? Were they the Smurfs?
No, the Marx Brothers. The Smurfs were
Washington.
the Washington Redskins.
Yeah. Smurfs were good.
Yeah, we had Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. They were the Marx Brothers.
Another one I didn't like, the Hogs. Did not like the Hogs.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that one either. And I really didn't like the guys that dressed up in the end zone with the little lacy umbrella and the hog
nose and dresses. They were in dresses.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was a weird costume.
Big men in wigs and pig noses.
Yeah.
Didn't like the Hogs.
Hey, I got one.
Okay.
And this is just because I hated the Pistons as a Bulls fan in the 90s, the Bad Boys.
The Bad Boys?
You didn't like the Bad Boys?
I hated the Pistons.
Well, I didn't like them, but I didn't hate that nickname.
I think the Bad Boys mostly were in the 80s, though, right? Did it bleed over into the 90s?
No, it was maybe a little bit.
Maybe
late 80s, early 90s. Yeah,
I like the Bad Boys, mainly because of the chaos, the disruption they caused there.
That was some ugly basketball.
Showtime Lakers was fantastic.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect. perfect description of what they were. Some others, the Red Machine, Bronx Bombers. I've never really, I didn't, when that was given to them, I wasn't around, obviously, and just never felt like they lived up to that ever since.
Yeah, Purple People Eaters, Patrick says, was weird. That was the old
Vikings, right?
The Vikings defense, the Purple People Eaters.
Ooh, the Cowboys at one time was the Doomsday defense.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the Doomsday defense. I like that.
Steel Curtain.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, that fit. That was really good.
Did you like the Four Horsemen? Notre Dame back in the day? I mean, you weren't alive for that, but...
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yes.
I wasn't alive for that.
You were not alive for the Four Horsemen.
I never liked that one for some reason. It seemed too biblical.
The Four Horsemen.
Yeah,
it's mentioned in there. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't like that so much.
Yeah.
So that was nickname. Let's do third down.
Third down.
Brownie.
Happy birthday, Jim. We got a couple celebrity birthdays here. I wrote these down so I wouldn't forget. Happy birthday, Michael Bolton. He's 72 today.
Oh, wow.
Were you a fan of Michael Bolton?
I must confess.
Here we go.
No, this is really embarrassing. I didn't even know you were going to ask this, so you guys know I share too much.
Yes, I love this.
In the single early 90s, I just moved back to Birmingham, and I think this is when Michael Bolton and Kenny G were popular.
Okay. Air quotes on popular, but okay.
Yeah, okay. So I had, before I lost it gambling, I had a great stereo system that had a CD changer in there, and I think it was 4 CDs I could put in. And if a young lady happened to be over at my apartment, there were 4 CDs in there that was that sort of vibe of music. Michael Bolton, Kenny G, and some other laid back, chill, horrible music that wasn't really you didn't really have to listen to. It was sort of background noise,
right?
Yeah, so that was in rotation. So I did own a Michael Bolton CD.
All right, let's go around the room because this is going to be the question. Your favorite love song of all time? Dunaway.
Oh, don't go me first.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite love song of all time is No Doubt. Is that a love song or a breakup song?
Could be one and the same.
No Doubt. It's not even No Doubt's the group.
Spiderwebs?
No, not Spiderwebs. The slow song where she's barefoot in her dress.
Yeah, the barefoot in the blue dress, Gwen Stefani. I can't remember the song, but you bring it up a lot. Yeah. Scott, best love song of all time.
Oh. Yeah,
Melton,
come back to me.
Melton, best love song of all time.
Islands in the Stream, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers.
Wow.
That's the one.
I wasn't, he didn't take mine.
Oh, that's horrible.
You think that's the best love song of all time?
Oh, makes me crave fried chicken, makes me crave good sex, makes me crave all kinds of things.
In that order? Melton?
You know what I did not have on my bingo card today? Melton saying the phrase good sex.
He's a happily married man.
I'm not saying that. I've just never.
I know.
Guys, I don't get turned to a lot here, but I get turned on by that song.
Okay. All right. So, but fried chicken first and the good sex with your wife second. Okay.
I'm just telling. I'm telling my truth. I thought we were supposed to be
I
vulnerable.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the vulnerability.
No, that's
Tyler,
really good.
Best love song of all time.
I was going to go back to the fact that Jim said he lost his stereo gambling and ask how that happened. But I feel like we're talking about something completely different now.
It's an old story.
Yeah, it's an old story. Our viewers and listeners know it. But it's basically Indiana getting 22 points at home on a Sunday on national TV, something like that. Yeah.
I'll go with Elvis. Can't help falling in love.
Oh, that's very good.
God, how old are you today? Elvis.
Yeah, he's had an Elvis reference and a
Addams Family.
Addams Family reference.
Yeah. In my defense, they brought back the Addams Family in the 90s.
They did.
You're right. They did.
Scott?
Hey, inspired by Tim here along the same vibe. You shook me all night long, AC/DC.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fried chicken or sex on that?
Does that make you think sex as well?
Fried chicken.
Well, what's your takeaway from that song?
I know what my takeaway is. Tip of the cap.
Unchained Melody, Righteous Brothers. I know that is old too. That's going to pass the old test. Yeah. But Eternal Flame by the Bangles when I was a middle schooler, that was a great slow dance makeout song.
I mean, love songs that are popping in my mind. I don't know if they're love songs or breakup songs.
Give us another one.
Always on my mind. Willie Nelson or Dolly Parton or Whitney Houston.
I think that could go either way. I've always thought of that as a love song.
Okay. Me too. I like all those. I mean, I've got love songs all over my Spotify.
I know. That's why I started with you.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, we've got tonight. That is a good one. We got tonight. All right. Fourth down.
I do like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Fourth down.
One of my all-time favorites would have been 93 today.
Bill Cosby's favorite love song is "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go." Oh wait, that's what they would play to him because they're asleep.
Wake me up before you Jello.
Wake me up before you Jello.
One of my all-time favorites would have been 93 today. The late great Johnny Cash, born this day in 1932. Greatest role in a biopic of all time is who? Because I thought
Reese Witherspoon is June.
Reese
Witherspoon is June.
She's good, but you don't know as much about June Carter as you do Johnny Cash. And I thought Joaquin Phoenix was spectacular as Johnny Cash. I think it might be the greatest biopic role of all time.
I don't disagree with you there. That's really, really good. Melton?
Man.
Melton will be good at this.
This is a tough one.
Tyler? Forrester? Anybody?
I'm going to go Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I really like Oppenheimer.
It's helped by the fact that you didn't really know much about what Oppenheimer sounded like or whatever.
That's what I was about to say.
The thing about, Joaquin Phoenix playing Johnny Cash is almost anybody going to the movie knew who Johnny Cash was, what he sounded like, what he looked like, and Phoenix just...
And he sang the songs.
Phoenix sang the songs. He was perfect as Johnny Cash.
Yeah. But Oppenheimer's good because I didn't know what Oppenheimer was, and that's my image of Oppenheimer now.
So this doesn't have to be a musical biopic?
No, not at all. Anybody.
No. Any biopic.
Any biopic whatsoever.
I've never heard Oppenheimer's music.
Yeah, though it does sound like he would be.
He would be a composer. Is that Oppenheimer's fifth? It is Oppenheimer's fifth. How did you know that? That's the second movement of Oppenheimer's fifth.
It was Oppenheimer's first and second.
I think Robert Downey Jr. in that movie is even better than Cillian Murphy.
He's great.
Wow.
But, Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody did a fantastic job. If you watch the Live Aid, and I always fall into this trap on YouTube, they'll sync up the real Live Aid performance with the movie version, and it's amazing the beats that he hits perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah.
With how it happened in real life. So I recommend everybody watch that video.
God, that is a great call.
That is. Scott, you got one?
That may beat yours. That may beat the Johnny Cash.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go way back. Robert De Niro, Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Wow.
Hunter says Austin Butler is Elvis. He got great rave reviews for that.
By the way, I never saw Raging Bull.
Oh, wow.
You should.
You're missing out.
One of the greatest movies
Daniel
of all time.
says Jamie Foxx is good in Ray. He was fantastic in Ray.
Oh, another good one.
Patrick says that whoever played Bear Bryant in Forrest Gump was one of the worst representations of any movie.
Yeah.
Zach with an old show reference, John Wayne playing Genghis Khan, which was fantastic. Yeah. A lot of love for Austin Butler as Elvis. I've not seen that one, but I hear he's really good.
The only problem with that performance is he looks nothing like Elvis. But other than that, it's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Shouldn't they get the guy from Red Clay Strays?
Well, he does a lot of Johnny Cash and Elvis now. Yeah.
I mean, he would have been perfect to be Elvis in the biopic because his voice, I think he could get there and make his hair black. It would have been perfect.
Yeah.
They're really talented. All right, that is 4 Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
You can find all the great Slice locations and the one nearest you, slicebirmingham.com.
Yep, basketball tonight. Down at Auburn. We'll be there with our post-game show. Taylor and I on the basketball show after that. You can still get reaction from last night's Alabama win on our video platforms. Go check that out. And a new basketball show drops Friday morning for your weekend on the taped version of the basketball show. Bama and Bourbon is out. New Aaron Suttles up with Lance Taylor this week for Bama and Bourbon. You can get that content for you right there. And, of course, the Meltdown is back with you today at 2 o'clock. I did not see Melton walk in with a big box of surprises, so no mystery box today, right?
No, we opened the last one yesterday, and it's up on the channel now. Hunter Bussey and Bryan Passink joined us yesterday to finish off the eBay boxes, and I hope Tim never buys another one.
Oh, really? Why? What went wrong yesterday?
They're just covered in mold and fecal matter.
Geez, again?
Fecal matter at this time?
Oh, yeah. There's nasty stuff in the boxes. Bugs and doo-doo. It's bad.
Bugs and doo-doo. Thank you.
So
For the kids out
I've
there.
got the word sex from Melton and doo-doo today.
That's right, yes.
I didn't say it, Tyler did. But yes, he's my spirit animal.
Trust me, in the last 10 days, doo-doo is not the worst thing you're going to hear in this show. All right, that gets us through hour number 2. Dr. B brought us this hour. Brown, your hair is coming back, and it looks amazing, man.
T3hair.net, Dr. B helping Lance and me, and he can help you as well. Go see Dr. Beckenstein and start growing that hair back naturally. It's not just a one-size-fits-all. He's going to do some DNA and genetic testing to see what will work best for you. And the good news is there's constantly being changes, and Dr. B is on the front end of these changes in this industry. So always there's new technology that can help you grow your hair back. It may not be too late. Don't just assume it is. Go get evaluated like you see me doing by Dr. B and see what he can do to help grow your hair back. T3hair.net. That's T3hair.net for our guy, Dr. B. Brandon Marcello talks college football next.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light. is on now.
Ole Miss at number 1 Auburn tonight, 6 o'clock. Alabama a winner last night over nationally ranked Mississippi State, 111-73, where Alabama hit 22 threes in that game. They're on the road at number 5 Tennessee this Saturday. Tennessee beat LSU last night, 65-59. Implications on the bubble all over the place and NCAA tournament seeding tonight in the SEC. Not only do you have Ole Miss and Auburn, 2 tournament teams, Vandy trying to be a tournament team at A&M tonight. Kentucky tournament team at Oklahoma. Oklahoma trying to be a tournament team. And Texas and Arkansas, both of those fighting for a spot in the tournament. So implications all over the board in what has been an amazing season in the Southeastern Conference. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Wonderful fried chicken. Unbelievable Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and the crew.
All right, let's talk some college football with Brandon Marcello, CBS Sports, 24/7 Sports, also the Middle 8 on our platform that we do during football season. Welcome in, Brandon. How are you, my friend?
What's up, Brownie? What's up?
Doing well. Everything is good. The powers that be in college football are meeting in Dallas, Texas. All the college football playoff guys. I don't anticipate that we'll get all the answers to the world's problems out of this. Do you think we'll get any solutions out of this meeting?
Zero. They met yesterday for about 8 hours or so. They discussed a lot of things, a lot of boring things, ticket prices, logistics for bowl games, and all that type of stuff in the future. But there was discussion about the SEC and Big Ten's plan, or at least what they want. The Big Ten and SEC want this upcoming season to get rid of the idea of allowing the 4 highest ranked conference champions to get a first round bye, and just to rank the playoff and seed the playoff based off the committee's rankings. So if you're number 3 in the rankings, you're going to be the 3 seed. You know, you're not going to have Boise State, supersede that because they won the Mountain West Conference or whatever. That's the immediate idea. The other one that's going to have much bigger implications is for 26 and beyond. And apparently that one wasn't necessarily presented by the SEC and Big Ten, but it was discussed behind closed doors yesterday. And that plan is, let's provide multiple automatic qualifiers to all the power conferences. The Big Ten and SEC would each get 4 apiece, followed by the Big 12 and ACC with 2 apiece. And then you would give 1 to the highest group of 5 champion, and then 1 at large. That scenario, along with some others, were discussed, but they didn't really say, okay, let's put a plan together. They've got time to figure that out. But here in the interim, they got to figure out this seeding thing going into next year. Having said all that, there's a lot of pushback on both of those ideas. And the simplest one to push through would be the seeding. And even that's facing a lot of pushback, not just from the non-Power 5, but also some of the other Power 5 conferences.
And I don't understand that, Brandon. And I'm going to lay out my case, and you tell me where I'm wrong here. If I've got 2 automatic bids for the ACC and 2 for the Big 12, that keeps my league relevant and alive into the future, and it's not going away. And we're guaranteed 2 spots where we may only get 1 if we're doing it just by a committee. As a group of 5, it keeps me involved. You easily could just hold me out. I don't know why I'm bitching and moaning about that. And I think 4 for the SEC and 4 for the Big Ten at times could be limiting those 2 conferences. If I'm the ACC and the Big 12 and the group of 5, I feel like I should be jumping around in the streets at this offer. I don't understand why the pushback.
Well, the pushback mostly right now is on the seeding aspect of it, because you're talking about taking money out of the hands of the Mountain West Conference and potentially other group of 5 conferences. Because if you get that first round bye, your team, your conference automatically gets $8 million, which is more than just getting into the playoff itself. That is in the interim, though, however. Going in the future, 2026 and beyond, starting with this new ESPN contract, the payouts are just going to be pretty, not even, but they've already been decided for the conferences. So it doesn't matter if you get a first round bye or not. What's interesting to me is that they're spending so much damn time talking about how to tweak this playoff format just for 1 year, and then it's going to be changed anyway. Also, the idea of just going straight seeding is not going to matter if they end up getting these multiple AQs anyway. It's just going to convolute the whole mess. I mean, if you sit there and talk to a casual fan, a common fan, or even a hardcore fan, you lay out this new playoff format idea that's out there, the 4 automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten and SEC, and it filtering down. Good luck like getting the committee's top 25 and going, okay, so the third highest ranked SEC teams actually, let's say 1 year, they're 16th, but they're actually going to be seeded this in the playoff. It's like, what this does, the reason why the Big Ten and SEC really want this is so that they can take almost all power out of the selection committee's hands, because they've had issues with the makeup of the committee, how they were ranking teams and everything. And I'm with you, and I think a lot of people are with you as well. Doing these multiple automatic qualifiers isn't really going to affect the big boys really at all. If you look through the research through the last 10 years of the previous college football playoff format, if we were at 12 or 14 teams and we went with this multi-automatic qualifier scenario, the SEC and Big Ten would have gotten just about the same amount of teams, if not less, over the whole sum there. So what is this all about? To me, it's about just being able to create a new television package for these big conferences, namely the Big Ten and SEC. Not with the playoff, but in the final weeks of the regular season, where they're going to be able to create playoff play-in games. So you can set it up. If you have this in the contract, we get 4 automatic qualifiers from the SEC. Okay, well, if I'm the SEC or Big Ten, I say this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do play-in games among our top 8 teams. 1 versus 8 or 1 versus 2, 2 versus 3, et cetera, whatever you want to do, set that up. And the winners of those 8 games, those 4 go to the playoff. So you create this whole new championship weekend within your SEC or Big Ten conference with 8 games potentially, as many as 8, I should say. And then you could sell that off to ESPN or your broadcast partners and go, hey, we should get an extra $15, $20 million or whatever it is for this package. Make no mistake, all this is really about money. The commissioners are not going to say that. You put truth serum in it, that's what's driving it. If there was no money in the world, I don't think they'd be talking about any of this, to be quite frank. They're all worried about revenue sharing, trying to get richer and richer and richer so they could pay players and continue to be ultra competitive. I do find it interesting. I was not in Dallas yesterday for the meetings, but ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips told Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports about how, our positions as commissioners is just temporary. We're holding this until the next people come down. And I thought he made a good point of like, we got to kind of be good stewards for this, because as much as we care about our own conferences and the position we're in right now, like what's this going to look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Like what kind of precedent are we setting for that? And this goes back to really how Jim Phillips has been approaching conference realignment and everything the last 5 years. And people have been making fun of him going, the ACC is just weak. Remember a couple years ago when the Oklahoma, Texas stuff was popping up about going to the SEC, people were asking the ACC commissioner, including myself, hey, are you going to try and go get Notre Dame? And he was talking about how with NIL and with these conference realignment and all the bigger TV deals and everything, that we all live in the same neighborhood in college athletics, but now some of them are in their own gated communities saying you can't come in or whatever. And that's not right for the health of college sports and college athletics as a whole. And technically he's correct. The problem is that I think all the commissioners kind of believe that, but that's not their job anymore. Their job is to make sure that their conference is stronger than their next door neighbor and they're richer so they can be more competitive on the field. And that's what's driving all this with the college football playoff.
Brendan Marcello, CBS Sports 24/7 Sports at B Marcello on social media. Great explainer there. There was this talk of this Big Ten SEC challenge for additional TV money. Do you think that's got any future to it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think once they start to figure out the playoff for 26 and beyond, if they get the multiple automatic qualifiers assured among the SEC, I think that they will finally go to 9 conference games, and then that'll open the door for them to actually sit down at the table with the Big Ten and actually do something official as far as just some type of, cross conference games there every year, and then be able to sign deals and maybe even do something that would change year to year every 2 years, where you would seed, all right, your first place team in the Big Ten last year is facing the conference champion of the SEC this year. Do something like that, and then you're able to sell that more easily as another different television package to your broadcast partners, and again, make more money. But all this is contingent on the SEC and Big Ten getting what they want, which is 4 automatic qualifiers. A lot of people I talk to, by the way, a lot of other commissioners and administrators who are not in the SEC and Big Ten, they get the feeling, they hope at least, that this is a negotiating tactic, that yes, they would love to have 4, but maybe they'd be okay with 3 to kind of even things out a little bit more, maybe give more out large spots out there so the group of 5 or group of 6 programs out there feel like they have more ease of access into the playoff. But right now, they haven't really brought it up. They've just brought up ideas. I'm still waiting for the Big Ten and SEC to go, okay, here's our idea, and this is what we want to do. I don't think that's going to happen until they figure out this seeding situation, and I think that'll all kind of come to a head probably in April or May of this year.
Truthfully, do you think there's an appetite for anybody wanting more Group of 5 access in there, other than the Group of 5s? But from fans that watch the game, do they want more access for a Group of 5 conference to make it in there? I don't.
Well, that's interesting you say that, Jim, because I would say that this 4-4 whatever proposal or whatever that's been put out there is leaked into the media. The overwhelming response from fans that I've seen has been very negative. They don't want to see 4 automatic qualifiers, the SEC and Big Ten. They don't want that because it automatically locks out at large spots. So at that point, I mean, I think that once we see it on TV and there's excitement with play-in games and the idea that maybe the number 2 team in the SEC could fall to the number 4, whatever the seeding, wherever the matchups are, and not get into the playoff will be exciting. But the idea that, like, whatever's really happening with the committee rankings every week doesn't matter, that'll be interesting. And also, we talk about money and TV stuff. The selection show for ESPN is a big driver for them. We all know about how dramatic they make that every week. Like, at this point, that makes that completely moot, in my opinion. You get away from a weekly television product. But I think at face value, people are very tired of hearing about everything being steered by money and the need for more money. And talking to others in the industry, when they heard about this SEC Big Ten idea, the multiple automatic qualifiers, people that were involved in the creation of the BCS that were around then are saying this seems awfully similar to what we were going through then. And a lot of us even back then thought there might be some issues here. I don't know about this. And they feel like that as good as things were this past year, that now we're trying to wrangle control and say, nope, it's not really just free will that you can play your way in. Now it's just, well, the SEC and Big Ten teams could play their way in, and then maybe a Big 12 and ACC team. And the Group of 5 programs, say what you will, more likely than not, they're probably just going to have one team in, if not any, every year. But you're also just winding down the possibility of some at-large teams elsewhere, whether it's in the Big 12 or ACC. 1 year there might be 3 teams in the Big 12 that are very capable of getting in there, and we don't end up seeing that happen. Or same thing for the ACC, and it's going to be because we got these spots already locked up because we got to do our play-in games in these other conferences for television.
Yeah, my point there would be if you've only got 3 really good ACC teams, then you don't deserve 3 spots. The path to getting there is tougher because of the depth of the Big Ten and the SEC.
You're saying that if you have 3 ACC teams worthy of getting in, that's tough luck? You only should get 2?
Well, I'm just saying.
Jim would say, be the SEC.
I'm saying at that point, there's probably 6 good SEC teams that match up to 3 ACC, and 2 SEC is going to be left out, and 1 ACC is going to be left out.
How do we know that? How do we not know that unless they play on the field in the playoffs?
Right, well, they do. They play on the field in the playoffs.
Every year, you're going by pass.
Clemson, Texas.
We don't know that till they play we don't know that till they play the games.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it. It's not like schedules during the regular season. So every year we're going to get in there, and the path of the SEC and to some degree the Big Ten is tougher than what it is in the ACC and the Big 12. It will always be that way. It will always be that way.
Not always. You don't know that.
Yeah.
No one knows that. No one. There's no way to predict that. Could you have told me 5-6 years ago the SEC would be by far the best basketball conference ever?
Excellent point by Brandon. Excellent point by Brandon.
Times change.
Excellent point by Brandon.
8 years ago, did you think that we'd be paying players $20.5 million?
Yeah.
You should know my always is a lot shorter than your always.
All right. At CBSSports.com.
Wait. We got to do the Jim Nagy.
No, I won't do the Hugh Freeze first. CBSSports.com. You say Hugh Freeze, Brandon Marcello. You say Hugh Freeze is on the hottest seat in America entering his third year at Auburn.
Yeah, because we all know what the pressure's like at Auburn anyway, and they haven't had a winning season since like 2019, something like that. Yeah. And I know it's just his third year, but even in his first year, they expected more. Fans, they were like, we could probably win 8 games because the president has been back there in the past with Hugh Freeze. He's always like overachieved his first year, and then especially in year 2. And year 2 was worse record-wise. He also went in on Peyton Thorne. And I've told you guys this as well, that Auburn was setting itself up for the third year, right, under Hugh Freeze. Yep. They were doing the whole thing with the NIL money, saving it up. That's when if we need a quarterback, we'll go get a big quarterback, go get some skilled guys, complement the recruiting classes we're putting in. The first 2 recruiting classes, that's what they focused on, high school recruiting. That's what we're going to spend our money on, bring them in. Now they got all that. They got the top 10 recruiting classes in, and now they've got their transfer portal classes in, and now they've got their quarterback in Jackson Arnold. So I'm not saying that Auburn, needs to win 11, 12 games and contend for a championship this year, but certainly you better show progress. I mean, if Hugh Freeze has another 5 or 6 win season, he's in deep, deep trouble there. I think that they would be very willing to move on, pay that buyout, and go and get the next head coach, because in this day and age, you can flip a roster in 1, 2, 3 years. It shouldn't take you 3 years at this point at a program like Auburn to win 7 or 8 games. You need to be winning 8 or 9 or even 10 in your third year at the least. And if you want evidence of that, go look at Arizona State, just got in the playoff. Go look at Colorado, even with Deion Sanders. As much criticism people throw his way, he got it done in year 2. I think that at this point for Auburn, because of the history there, because of the booster culture there, and because they're very hungry to win games in this Iron Bowl rivalry, that if he doesn't strike now, you're setting the tone for potentially the next 5 to 10 years in an Iron Bowl rivalry. You guys know this. Every 10, 15 years, there's a little bit of a power shift in the Iron Bowl, right?
Yep.
Tommy Tuberville had it for a little bit. Then Nick Saban got there, and Tommy realized, I can't do this, and he got forced out. Nick Saban comes in, has a great, fantastic run, the greatest of all time, and now he's gone, and Kalen DeBoer comes in. You think they're not going to miss a beat, but they kind of had a little hitch in their giddy up last year, right? Auburn needs to strike now. While they're stumbling, you need to push them over. Auburn hasn't done that yet. They got to do it this year, I think. Otherwise, Alabama's going to get back in stride, and they're going to hit their stride and keep running, and it's going to make that gap between Alabama and Auburn be wider, maybe even wider than it's really ever been. Auburn can't afford that right now. So, in my opinion, having covered Auburn and seeing other programs and how things are like that right now, he's on the hottest seat. Now, if Ryan Day had not won the national championship this year, I would say he's on the hottest seat for similar reasons, because he keeps losing to Michigan, but he's not winning championships. At Auburn, it's a little bit less. You only be winning championships there every year, but you damn sure better be getting to a bowl game and challenging Alabama and at least looking competitive out there.
Do you think, and you're around a lot of coaches and administrators and boosters in your career, do you think at some point Hugh Freeze knows this? Like, do you think a booster has told him, hey, there's a number you need to hit this year, or is this just all works out in the atmosphere and he needs to sort of feel it happening around him?
Well, I mean, I hear this from other colleagues and people in the business, and they see Hugh Freeze at press conferences, and they say you can see it in his face that the job has aged him already. It's a lot like a president. You see a president go into office, and 3 years later, they got so much more gray hair.
Yeah,
their face looks a little bit more weathered. I've had people over the last year say that about Hugh Freeze when they watch press conferences of him. listen, there's no way for you to not know what kind of pressure you're under at Auburn. You don't have to directly talk to boosters, though some of them do at times. They'll make their voice heard and go, hey, you got to make a change here. You got to do this. I think this will be good for you and your future going forward here at Auburn. I don't know if Hugh Freeze has heard that, but certainly the atmosphere there, it doesn't matter who the coach is there. I know what the atmosphere is like there. He knows. He knows what he's got to do.
You wanted to ask about Jim Nagy, our buddy Jim Nagy. Go ahead.
I mean, that's fascinating. I mean, I know there's a lot of money in being the general manager now of a major college program.
Lombardi's making 1.5 in North Carolina, the reports are.
So Jim Nagy leaving the Senior Bowl where he was beloved by NFL and college people, and now he's going to Oklahoma. Tell us your thoughts on that story. He's going to be the general manager for the Sooners.
It's a huge hire. I think it rivals Michael Lombardi going to UNC and maybe surpasses it because at the very least, Jim has more experience dealing with college coaches, obviously, dealing with the Senior Bowl, talking to them, also scouting players of that age range more often than, say, Michael Lombardi has when they're coming out of college and he's looking at the best of the best already. It's a great hire. And it's considering the circumstances at OU, Venables also on a hot seat going into this year, and Jim deciding, hey, you know what, I'm going to take that job. Also, you knew Jim was in demand because his name had been coming up for other jobs, including in the NFL over the last couple of years. I don't think I was necessarily expecting this to happen at OU and to happen at this time, but I think it's a great hire. And as you said, there's a lot of money in to run these front offices now for college athletics, which makes it so much more interesting to me that there's several programs out there that still don't have a general manager for football these days, and they're just kind of flying by the seam of their pants. And I don't know why anybody's doing that anymore, but they are. But huge hire for them. I think the more interesting question for me is just like, what's this mean for the Senior Bowl moving forward?
Yeah, I know.
And like, who are they going to bring in that can match that expertise and the connections that Jim had and has? That'll be fascinating.
I didn't know if they could do that after
that bowl game.
Yeah, I didn't know if they could do that after Phil. Phil was so well connected, and they did it with Jim. So I hope there's another guy that just happened to make his home in the Bay Area that was a great NFL scout. I mean, that's what Phil Savage and Jim Nagy were.
I don't know if he wants to do it, but our friend Daniel Jeremiah, maybe
DJ would be a good call.
He'd be really good at it.
Yeah, I think he's probably got a better gig at the NFL Network.
Probably
but he'd be really good at it. Can you, just off the top of your head, give us the most prominent football program you're aware of that does not have a general manager right now? Because when you said that surprised me a little bit. I thought everybody had done it.
Well, I don't know prominent, but there's one in my backyard, Arkansas.
They don't?
Doesn't really have one.
Yeah.
No, and I think they've been hurt tremendously by that. They've had quite the exodus of players the last 2 years.
Wow, that does.
Portal.
Yeah, it does.
I would say if you're an SEC school and you don't have one, that's surprising to me.
Yeah, I would agree. That shocks me that it's an SEC school.
Yeah, and there's several other smaller programs. Obviously, Group of Five is one thing, but there's some power conference teams out there that are still. They've either got a GM, but they're not really have carte blanche and kind of doing what a GM is going to do these days in this new era. More or less, they're just kind of handling like people going, all right, if you want money, come to him and he'll do whatever. These guys, general managers, you got to be like scouting guys and telling the coaches like, here, this is what you need. This is how many spots you're going to have. This is how much money we've got with this collective or whatever. Also, I've been talking to these guys over here in South Texas that believe they've got these players. That's someone who needs to really be running those front offices now in college football.
By the way, and I know you need to go, Brendan. We've kept you way too long. I'm fascinated by this Texas Tech project. I mean, the guy that founded their NIL just sold his oil and petroleum business for $4.1 billion. Like, that is an outpost of college football to see if you could build an NIL power anywhere. If you could do it in Lubbock, Texas, you could make the argument with enough money you could build a national champion anywhere. I'm fascinated to see if that works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'd be national title contenders, but they've been building up for this for like last 3 years or so. Obviously, they got the tremendous football facility there, which, goodness gracious, every time I talk to Joey McGuire, goes, you need to come down here to Lubbock. I will show you around. I'll let you throw a tortilla from my office window onto the field or whatever. They've been really pushing that. And you look at their transfer portal classes and even the high school recruiting has been doing very, very well. The Big 12 was in a point last year, going into last year, like who's going to take over as the dominant program or programs in the Big 12 after Texas and OU leaves. And I think it's still wide open, even after this past year. And I think this past year even showed you that with Arizona State doing what it did. So these next 5 years or so, you're going to see a lot of infighting among the Big 12 trying to kind of take that perch. And Texas Tech certainly has the money. One program that, like, you would think has the money to maybe do that doesn't necessarily is Oklahoma State. They're the ones that have actually kind of stumbled behind the pack in this new era because of Mike Gundy, the reluctance to kind of move forward in this new era. They finally kind of rectified some of that in the background. So I'm interested to see how Oklahoma State tries to rival kind of what Texas Tech's doing. But right now, you talk about rich programs. Tech's got it going on right now in the Big 12.
They do. Guys got a lot of money. All right. Great stuff from Brandon Marcello. Go follow Brandon on social media at @BMarcello, CBS Sports, 27 Sports. Read his work, watch his videos, share it, give it a thumbs up. Everything we ask you to do for us, do for Brandon. Great stuff, Brandon. Thank you very much for the time.
I love you, Jim. I wasn't trying to bust your balls.
No, he needs it.
About what?
About the SEC basketball. You made a great point. You made a great point.
No, you did. I love that back and forth there. I'm going to stick by my opinion that the SEC and the Big Ten moving forward will be better than the ACC and the Big 12. But,
but he made a point.
Yeah, but you did make great points. Yes. And I read your stuff, and I love the new mailbag column.
Have you seen the stuff he's doing with his wife? That's really good, too.
Yes, I have.
I mean, I know out of context, that is a weird
comment.
I get it out of context.
I'm a big fan of the podcast.
Out of context, but Brandon is doing a podcast with his wife, and it's very funny stuff.
Yes, it is. It's really, really good. Yeah. I actually showed it to my wife, and she said, we couldn't do that. We would fight. And I said, I don't know anything about the Marcellos, but I bet they do, too.
We love to fight.
Yeah. So do the Dunaways.
Right.
All right,
Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Have a great week, buddy.
See you guys.
All right, Brandon Marcello with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
All right, the show brought to you by a lot of our great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That is Greg from Pell City. He will get on your roof and give you a free, no-cost roof inspection. Absolutely free. Let Greg get up there and find out if anything's going on up there. When's the last time you had that roof inspected? I'll tell you this about Greg from Pell City. He gives out his cell number. That's it on the big sign right there, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or you can look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Just text the number if you want to. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you just want to sort of touch base, say, hey, man, I'm interested. I heard you on the next round, interested. Full roof replacement, storm damage repairs. He does it all. And he's got some insider information about how insurance companies now are sort of paying out older roofs when it comes to damage or time to replace them. You'll need to get that information from Greg as well. 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Also, our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Brownie, tell us about Woodhouse.
My wife and I enjoyed a couple's day there. When you say couples massage, I think a lot of people think it's you and your wife in a room together. They've got that option. My wife and I chose a different path there. She went to her room. I went to my room. We both relaxed there.
We call that the Dunaway.
The Dunaway massage? Okay.
Husband and wife go separate ways. Yeah.
Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's where you can book an appointment. If a birthday is coming up, maybe a graduation, or you just want to treat that loved one in your life with a great day at Woodhouse Day Spa. They got so many wonderful options there, from the couples massages to just getting massage yourself, whatever it is. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com, right there in the sermon, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
And our friends at Hemphill, one note here before we get to break, brought to you by Hemphill. Running hot and cold is our National Football League Combine. Hemphill is keeping everything running in your house, whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business. They're ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. The name Birmingham's trusted since the 1950s is our friends at Hemphill. At the Combine, these stories are bouncing out as they've started to work. Kirk Cousins, it looks like, is about to become the first ever $40 million backup quarterback.
That's insane, isn't it?
I don't know this to be the case, but I don't think there's ever been another $40 million backup quarterback. Anybody? I don't think so.
Chase Daniel made a lot of money in his career. I don't think he ever got $40 million a year. $40 million a year is what you're saying?
$40 million against the cap is what it is.
Yeah.
$40 million against the cap, but they're going to keep him as the backup. Here's why: because it's going to cost them $40 million against the cap to keep him. It costs them $65 million against the cap if they cut him.
Okay, well then you're making the smart move there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So a little cap problem for the Falcons when it comes to that. He'll be Penix's backup there. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they look like a package deal. There are people writing today that Pittsburgh should jump in and accept that package deal and bring Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers together. Aaron Rodgers told reporters I forget which publication it was. I think it was a New York paper. That his ideal destination that he wants to end up in, where do you think, what team do you think he wants, he and Davante Adams to go as a package deal to? The Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, wow. Boy.
So he's ready to push.
Save that story for tomorrow. When
he's
Lance
ready
is
to
back.
push Matt Stafford out the door, and he tells, I forget the publication. Here it is. Pat Leonard says, sources tell the Daily News, which just seems like a New York paper, that Aaron Rodgers prefers to play for the Rams and that the outgoing Jets quarterback would bring Davante Adams with him once the Jets receiver becomes a free agent.
Oh, please bring this back tomorrow. Can you make note to bring this story back tomorrow when Lance is here?
Yes.
I would love his reaction to this.
And it looks like Travis Kelce is returning for a 13th season, according to the Kansas City Chiefs. They believe all signs are pointing to that, which has everybody on the internet saying, well, of course he is. His girlfriend's favorite number, 13.
What's her favorite number, 13? That's a weird
There's a whole reason why Taylor Swift's favorite number is 13.
Right.
Something to do, I don't know, was her first song when she was 13?
I don't know. You got the tattoo.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
You
just
tell
saying,
me.
13's a number. She used to write it on her hand all the time, the 13. but
Really?
She got away from that. But this would be Travis Kelce's 13th season in the NFL. But he does look like he's fired up and coming back. Those NFL
Taylor Swift considers 13 her lucky number because she was born on December 13th, turned 13 on a Friday the 13th, and has experienced several significant positive events in her life that coincided with the number 13.
Oh, Lord.
So Travis Kelce's 13th years could be when they get married.
Wait till the TikTok people start claiming she's the Antichrist because of her embracing of the number 13.
I'm sure that's already happening.
I'm sure it already has, yes.
When we come back, trash today and a little bit more on basketball tonight down at Auburn and what Alabama did last night in the final hour of the show, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness. If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McCorder, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms. Michelson Laser Vision gives us a look back to last night's Alabama win. Brought to you by our great friends at Michelson.
Yeah, you can do what Lance did. Go see Michelson Laser Vision. Get that LASIK surgery, which can give you that fighter pilot vision. Call Michelson and get a risk-free evaluation. Dr. Mark and Jennifer Michelson, father-daughter combo there that are the pioneers in this field of LASIK surgery. 205-969-8100, 205-969-8100, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
23 last night, 23 three-pointers for Alabama. 22 three-pointers last night. But Mark Sears, who had 21 points, also had a boatload of assists last night. And Nate Oates got asked about the all-around play from Alabama's captain.
I think we're really good when he's distributing like this. And I've been telling you guys, he's been playing his best basketball of his career on both sides. You know, for him to have a positive defensive leverage, that hasn't always been the case. You know, when he just gets locked into getting stops, doing winning things, doesn't care who scores. I mean, when it was getting close to 10, he really wanted to make sure he got 10. CY was telling him, you know who to find. So I don't know if that assist to CY for the 3 was his 10th. But it might have been either his 9th or his 10th because that came after we had the timeout where CY said, you know who to find. So, he was happy. He was happy CY scored 27. He talked about Mudita. Thought Sears was really happy for, everybody else that was able to get in the scoring column, and he was able to get some assists. And, yeah, we definitely will show highlights of this. What are we, 9-0 in his entire career here? Is that what it is? When he's got at least how many assists? 7. So that's the magic number. Just draw up a lot of plays to get Sears assists, I guess, moving forward.
Yeah, the old magic number. We're about to get to trash. After trash, we'll go back into the chat room and look for this.
Okay.
But for those of you that occasionally gamble, was there a player prop last night with Aiden Holloway about something? Because Holloway was coming off the floor for warm-ups, and 4 young college-looking age guys are just out of college, a lot like the guys who show up at the rabbit hole and we kid about their gambling all the time, said something to Aiden about, I couldn't make out what they said, but they were almost like encouraging him to either score or dish out a certain number of assists, like there was a player prop on it.
Right.
And then late in the game, like Holloway hit a big shot, and those 4 guys and then another group of younger gentlemen who like they may have had something on it went crazy as well. And then Holloway came back down and scored again, and they went crazy again. I was wondering, was there? I couldn't find any player props on Alabama last night for me as I was trying to quickly do that, watching that. So if there was a interesting Holloway player prop out there anywhere on any service last night, let me know in the mybookie.com chat room, because that seemed to add a little excitement to the 38-point blowout win. Those guys were pumped up when Holloway was jacking them in near the end of the game.
That is pretty funny.
It felt like it was
Aiden, was he acknowledging them?
Well, he laughed when he ran off, and then afterwards he hit a couple of shots, and I was like, boy, they're going crazy here for this. And then I think Sears hit the CY one, assisted the CY, and everyone, anytime you go over 100, people go crazy, and anytime somebody late in the game misses the front end of a 2-shot free throw situation, you go crazy because gooey fries are on the line at every arena, and so that becomes a big deal, too.
There was when the one Jack State game I went to earlier this year. If you miss back-to-back, the opponent misses back-to-back free throws under 4 minutes, I think it is.
Gooey fries?
No, it was free something at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
Jacksonville Chick-fil-A.
Gooey fries at Auburn and in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
I don't even know. I think it's from our friends at Baumhauer's, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah. All right.
Gooey fries sound good right now.
They do. All right, let's get trash time. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Tyler, I know there's a lot of pressure on you. I should point out, I love every open. There's just some I dislike more than others.
Well, let's see about this one.
Yeah,
and I managed to play 2 you dislike the
right
most.
in a row.
In a row.
Two in a row. Two of my least favorite of all time. I don't know if I have a third least favorite, but give it a shot.
6 witches that are in our
one.
church.
I love this one. Yeah.
And you know what's strange? 3 of you are in this room right now. We got your first name. We got your last name. We even got an address for one of you. You so much as cough wrong, and I'll expose you in front of everybody in this tent, you stinking witch.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Easily a top 4 seed in this summer's bracket right there. When
Top
you say
4 seed?
Top 4 seed, yeah. There's so many good ones, but that's a top 4 seed, I think.
This summer's bracket.
Yeah, this summer's 64 trash open bracket that we're going to do. Why do you not want this? I just don't understand why you dislike this idea.
Even if we go 64, would we have to go chronological order or just pick the top 64?
No, it's the top seeds. It's the top seeds.
There's
but
about
Jim
20
hates
opens
this
that
idea.
wouldn't make the cut.
I can't believe Jim hates this idea so much.
I mean,
what's the bubble watch looking like for trash opens?
Yeah, is there first 4 out?
The actual selection show would be a lot more interesting than a bracket. I've always found that to be true. I just never think these bracket things play out as good as they sound on the air. I think it gets really old really quick.
We're just going to send people to the website to vote. They got to go to the website to vote.
Y'all do whatever you want to do here, and I will ride along with a smile.
Yeah, I've seen that smile before. That's what you call it.
I just think it gets old after the selection show. It's like it's like fantasy football and baseball, to be honest with you.
Right.
It is great on draft night. And then 2 or 3 weeks in, it gets pretty old.
I've never liked fantasy sports. I'm kind of.
But you love draft night.
Draft night is fun, but then I forget to check my lineup.
Exactly.
Week 2,
and us laying out the bracket will be fun.
Yeah.
And then the process of crowning a champion will be like, all right, that's still going on. So our sandwich bracket is down to 4 really great sandwiches
sandwich
we
bracket
love.
Was fantastic. You
I
didn't
know,
like
but
the sandwich bracket?
We loved all the sandwiches.
Them all. We
yeah,
did, and
yeah.
we went and ate them.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the sandwich bracket. That was back in the radio days.
But inevitably, you ended up making a couple of our sponsors sandwiches. Made them mad.
Tyler, we got people to submit sandwiches, and we put them in a 16 sandwich bracket, or was it a 32 sandwich bracket? It was a big sandwich.
I think it was 16, maybe
and
8.
So so people get to vote on the best sandwich in Birmingham, and I went to one restaurant that was doing really well in the bracket. And the waitress comes to the table, and I was like, I want to try this sandwich. And she goes, that is an excellent choice. There's this radio show that's doing this bracket, and if you'll help by going and voting for it. And I'm like, oh, they're trying to stack the bracket, aren't they? She had no clue that I was, a host on that radio show.
Now, truthfully, I do think it came down to 4 of our sponsors in the final 4.
That's just the way it happens,
Did
Jim.
you, when she said that, did you go, do you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am?
No.
Back in that kitchen.
That don't sound familiar.
That was a different show that would have done that.
All right, trash is presented by Mortgage Right.
Same station, though.
When it comes time to buy that house or get a refinance, Mortgage Right is the place to go. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated, great programs for veteran as well. MortgageRight.com/TNR, MortgageRight.com/TNR. Is there a picture with the first story? Don't put it up if there is. Don't put it up. Okay.
I believe so.
Okay, well, hang on. I just want to get Jim to guess.
It's an odd
first.
request not to put it up.
No, I want to
Okay.
get you to guess first.
Okay.
But you got to help me with these names, Tyler and Melton.
Yeah, is it Pokemon again? That
It's
went
close,
well yesterday.
close. Ayo Adibri?
Ayo Edabiri, I believe. Tim?
Does
help me
Melton
out
know?
here.
Ayo Adibiri, Melton?
That's probably not close, but I don't know the answer.
Daniel Kulalaya? Melton, do we know that name?
Kaluuya.
Yeah,
Kaluuya?
that is correct.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
So they are going to be involved in a film along with A24, which is a production company.
Yep.
It's a live action about what character? Live action movie. I'll give you a hint. It's an inanimate character. It's not a human character. This is a toy, but it's a live action about this toy. Never been done before. You can pull the photo up now, Tyler.
No, don't.
No,
don't pull it
you
up.
just look away. Look away from the screen. Tyler, pull it up.
Don't pull it up.
The Magic 8 Ball.
It is not the Magic 8 Ball. I don't know that one might not be more interesting.
I about 18 months ago, and I'm not looking. 18 months ago, I used to have one of these. I saw in the works they were actually working on a screenplay for Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots would probably be more interesting in this. These two gentlemen, A24 and Mattel Films live action film of Barney, is coming soon to a theater near you. As per Variety, the award-winning actress, I didn't know which, is Ayo the actress, I guess?
That is correct.
Not Daniel, obviously. Currently
She's in The Bear.
Daniel was in Get Out, but he won't be in this movie.
Gotcha.
But you just said it was an inanimate.
It was not human. It's an inanimate.
There's a human inside Barney, though.
But Barney's not a human.
I agree with you, Jim. There's a technicality
No,
here.
Barney's a purple dinosaur that's not real.
It's a fictional character. It's not an inanimate,
Okay, I'm
inanimate
sorry.
object.
Sorry,
I mean,
guys.
that's why I went Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Sorry, Jacksonville State. Sorry, Sachs High School. It is a...
Where'd you go to elementary?
Sachs Elementary. Sachs Middle, in case you're wondering about the other one. As per Variety, the award-winning actress is currently in discussions to pen the screenplay and star in the upcoming movie adaptation. Sources claim she will serve as the lead producer and will be joining in the film's cast. This sounds like a bad idea. Does she have any sort of experience producing a film? And now she's going to be Barney?
Yeah. Sadly,
seems terrible.
Sadly, my oldest was at the back end of Barney, I guess. We got some Barney episodes. I was in this crazy crap I didn't want to watch, or as we learned earlier, crazy doo-doo. I hadn't heard that word in forever that I didn't want to watch. I liked Teletubbies better than I did Barney for some reason.
Right.
Me too.
Yeah. Maybe because of the real life clips. Occasionally they would go to like some British family who would be walking on the beaches in Wales or goat farming somewhere in Denmark or something. The cutaways to get away from the Teletubbies were always better. Barney was just pure trash. Trash.
Teletubbies had a real kid's face in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A baby, right?
Yep.
So, do we know the tone of this movie? Is it going to be like dark satirical comedy? I feel like it's going to go those places.
We don't, but I assume because A24 is making it, they're going to do the thing where, like, the trailer's going to have the Barney I Love You, You Love Me song played super slow and sinister-like.
Yeah.
And, like, Barney runs a cult.
Here,
or something.
the quote at the end here, Melton, we want to remain consistent to the authenticity, the DNA of Barney, but we also want to modernize. I don't know what that means. That doesn't sound like he's going to kill anybody. You ever wonder, like, if you die on a plane, what happens to the body?
But didn't they really quick on the Barney thing?
Sure.
Tough transition.
That's the most random part of this conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's the next story.
But
But go ahead.
Wasn't there a movie where it was almost, the character was almost like Barney, but they couldn't use Barney, and it was like a murder where the
Death to Smoochie, is that what you're thinking of?
Death to Smoochie's the only thing I can think
Wasn't
of.
that a play off of Barney, basically?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Edward Norton and Danny DeVito.
So we've already done that.
And Robin Williams.
In a sinister way.
Do you ever wonder what happens to somebody that dies on a plane, what they do with the body?
I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I've said it twice, you probably do wonder.
What they do with the body?
Yeah.
And so if they recover the body.
Well, no, this isn't just a passenger on a plane dies in the flight. What do you do? A couple found out, Jim.
Oh, so it's on the plane.
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
passenger on
So
the
this
plane.
isn't
We're
after
flying along, and I just.
So this isn't after a crash.
No. This is an actual flight.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this.
What do you
I know
think it
I would
is?
handle this.
How would you handle it? If you're a stewardess.
Sadly, I think it's just you bring out the tarp and you just drape it.
Like it's a ring delay in Major League Baseball.
You just drape it. There's no place to put them.
You got to put them in the bathroom.
Yeah.
No, you
Well,
can't.
I got to use the bathroom.
There's no place to put them, and so I think you drape them over.
Jim rolls out the tarp, goes to Sanford and Son.
You may throw a little yellow tape around them, but
So they're like handing you pretzels over the tarp and everything, and you're like,
sorry, sir.
I think sadly,
about this.
if it's a full flight, I think
Yeah.
I've got to sit in the middle seat and I got to sit in the window, and they're on the aisle.
A couple bound. I mean, I do wonder if they've got a window seat. If I could say, can I trade with the dead body, please?
No.
I mean, he can't really enjoy the window anymore.
Obviously, you're going to land the next time, but until you land,
Well.
it's just covered up.
A couple bound for their dream Italian vacation experienced just this, the flight of their nightmares, when they were forced to sit next to, this is a stock photo, right? That's a stock photo.
Yes,
Okay, good.
this is just a rendition of
Okay.
what it might look like
By the
if
way,
someone died on a plane.
Right.
Horrible actress. She's not playing. She's not playing dead.
asleep.
She's not playing dead well.
Rose, act like your dad.
I'm
real
not
quick.
sure she plays live well, but she's not playing dead well.
And this flight attendant actress isn't playing concerned very well.
She's pissed at them making the photo during the flight. I have got a job to do. They were forced to sit next to a dead body, Jim, for 4 hours with no option to change their seats. Flight must have been full, sir.
There's no option.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can do. I'm ruling with the airline here.
Yeah. They were on their way to Italy from Australia, and in an interview with Australian's A Current Affair, the upset couple said the deceased woman was placed next to them with a blanket over her body. You are not wrong here.
Protocol.
Yeah, and they were not given the option to change their seats for the remainder of the long-haul
I
flight.
try to tell you guys all the time, I could do a lot of jobs in this world. I choose to do this one every day.
and one day we'll put a tarp over you.
Right here. Go ahead. And trust me.
That's the end of Jim's run. God bless Jim. God bless America.
And trust me, I would like it a lot better than the dummy we put in the middle here. I've always wanted a different option than this.
What do you want?
Could we taxidermy Jim and just have him permanently be in the
I would
seat?
agree with that, yeah.
Ooh.
Then we don't have to pay for the burial.
I'm being cremated, so technically just a small,
urn.
Yeah.
What if we melt the Emmys and put those in the urn?
Yeah, and we taxidermy
And then
you.
we taxidermy your body.
Yeah.
Sadly, only 2. I'm not sure we can get enough metal.
How much ash do you really get in one
Now,
of those anyway?
when Rick Carley kicks it.
We need to borrow some from
That's
Rick.
right.
Get Rick to loan me 5 or 6 of his.
A North Carolina woman is behind bars after assaulting a Family Dollar worker who
Here's
tried
my
to.
good news story of today on my Facebook.
Who tried to
I loaned 5 of my Emmys to Jim's wife so that his urn can be made.
Well,
because he didn't have enough Emmys of his own.
Never mind.
He could actually use 5 that he beat me in because I think
Oh,
5.
you only had to hit 5 times. He was 5-0.
Oh, I think it was more than 5 times. Yeah. No, he dominated me.
So a North Carolina woman is behind bars after assaulting a Family Dollar worker who tried to stop her from escaping with $6 worth of toilet paper. Ain't worth it. Let her go.
Yeah. I will tell you, I never feel safe in a Family Dollar.
Really? When Lakina Stanley, pictured here, sought to shoplift from the Family Dollar in High Point, North Carolina, worker Deja Pierce attempted to stop the toilet paper heist. Pierce told cops she tried to lock and block the door. When a female attempted to leave with a pack of toilet paper, she pulled Miss Pierce's hair to attempt to move, and then the two fought. Police subsequently found Stanley circulating in the area near the Family Dollar and arrested her. She was locked up without bond, expected to make an initial court appearance today. So we'll see what happens.
She's got Whitney Houston eyes.
Kind of does. You're right. Now, that's bad, Whitney, but Whitney had some bad moments.
This is after hanging out with Bobby Brown, obviously.
Yes, there's no doubt. It's her prerogative. A woman charged with running a New Jersey sex parlor. What do you think her name might be? She's Asian. I'll give you a hint. You're going to love this.
It's the most perfect name ever.
Oasis Spa, Route 10 in New Jersey. She's charged with running a prostitution ring out of her massage parlor.
What's her name?
Soon Bang.
Yes.
She's 63. She's charged with second-degree money laundering, third-degree promoting prostitution, and engaging in prostitution. Soon Bang behind bars today.
Hi, Sue Bank. On your way out, if you'll see my assistant pay me.
They found a large stash of cash investigators believe was made through prostitution. Probably a good guess on that one, investigators. And then finally, Finally, this is twice this guy has been mentioned in 2 days on this show. A slice of toast from the Beatles legend George Harrison's breakfast, dating back 72 years, was recently sold at auction after being rediscovered. I don't know why anybody would buy this. The piece of toast has been carefully preserved in a scrapbook page next to the cigarette remains and the fluff from John Lennon's guitar case, serving as a time capsule for Beatlemania. In 1962, 15-year-old fan Sue Houghton formed a friendship with the Harrison family during a visit. She pilfered an unfinished crust from George's plate, slipped it in her pocket for posterity, and she secured it in her scrapbook, noting piece of George's breakfast, 2863. It has been sold for $1,600. She said she'll fund home repairs with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, it's back-to-back days George Harrison on the show.
Yep.
The great Tom Stipe last night. As pre-tip, says to me, you guys know I love your show. I watch it all the time.
Thank you, Tom.
You guys don't know crap about the Beatles.
Correct, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah, I said
that is true.
That is true.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Nor am I a fan, but I respect their work.
Yep, I will own that 100%.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot already the song he told me, but it is one of the most, one of the best Beatles songs of all time that George Harrison actually was the lead singer on.
How about that? In an upset.
Yep. So
that's trash.
Brought to you by Mortgage Right.
Brought to you by Mortgage Right. MortgageRight.com/TNR. Veteran-owned, veteran-operated. Great programs for veterans everywhere.
Should have said this earlier in the show. Lance not here with us today. He'll be back with us tomorrow.
I think it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think we had to do that ever.
Well, you do get a lot of where is Lance, where is Jim if one of us is out in the chat room. We do get vacation here.
So what is anybody say anything prop bets last night with Holloway?
Nobody responded to that. We got to trash and the people were talking about the dead person in the plane.
Yeah, I never know if we can do. It seems like they're always trying to ban college prop bets. And I enjoyed them last year because Mark Sears was easy money. I haven't made one college prop bet this year.
20 plus for Sears. That was every single night, wasn't it?
Every night. It was 19.5 or 20.5, and he just took it over all the time. By the way, he's 3 games straight of going over right now on 20.5 as well. All right, good win by Alabama last night. They can play like that every night. Auburn tries to back it up tonight as the dominant number 1 overall seed at home against Ole Miss. Little TNI got the post-game show for you live with the basketball show on our video platforms. Until next time, we are back with you at 9 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. Until then, so long, everybody. God bless you and God bless America. And good night.